John on here with you. It's a Saturday night, May 4th, 2024. How's everybody doing out there today? There is a lot to get to. I see Alec Nava has just joined in. I'm going to see feed. If it lags up a little bit, then I can switch with sports. Then I'm sure Alec will be ahead of me. So, head coach by Sheldon Keefe. It's the Toronto Maple Leafs 46, 26, and 10. Their lineup sounds like this: Max Domi, Tyler Bertuzzi, Mitch Marner, Morgan Riley, Ilya Labushkin, John Tavares, Matthew Nyes, Willie Nylander with Simon Benoit and Jake McCabe, Austin Matthews, Pontus Holmberg, Kelly Arnkruk, David Camp, Connor Dewar, Noah Gregor, with Joel Edmondson and Timothy Liljegren on the back end. Ilya Samsonov is going to get the start in net today for the Leafs. And for the Bruins, head coached by Jim Montgomery, 47, 20, and 15. It sounds like this: Charlie Quill, Brad Marchand, Morgan Geeky with Mason Malloy and Charlie McAvoy. Paul Zaka, Jake in the moment, Brandon Carlo, Trent Frederick, JVR, Justin Brasso, Jesper Boquist, John Beecher, Pat Maroon, with Parker Wotherspoon and Kevin Shattenkirk will be the goaltender of record. Alec, we talked about it back and forth. I saw a couple of your messages before I get everything all set up. Austin Matthews, he'll be in the back end line, and that sounds pretty good. So he'll be in a bottom six role. Probably be limited a little bit as much as he can play, but still, that's a boon for the Leafs. What's not a boon is what we saw in the previous game. Remember, so game 6, where a buzzer beater was scored. Joseph Wall extends, tries to make the save. Showed him on the team bus and Sportsnet. Very ginger. Ilya Samsonov is going to get this game 7 today.
For Leafs fans, you wonder what to do now that it is a game 7. What approach do you go with? Well, the improvements were made not because of the turnaround on happened. It was back-to-back 2-1 victories. The improvements made because of goaltending, and that was Joseph Wall. Now he's out of the equation, and with him taken out, Ilya Samsonov needs to match that production because Wall is save percentage 964, Samsonov 884 for 4 games. It was clear that Wall has been the better of the two goaltenders. They won't have his services. With Matthews back in the lineup after battling through illness, you wonder what impact will he have? What will he do for the Leafs team? Where will he be slotted? Most likely he's going to be on the third line because he's not at 1% to go to the top line if Leafs were to have them further down for the stretch if they were to win this game.
Here's an educated guess from me, Alec. I think we can kind of level it and see where we agree here. So, Austin Matthews, I'm with you on the third or fourth line. I would think for number 34 here, maybe about 15 minutes or less of ice time and a bottom six portion of the role. Maybe get a little bit of an offensive push, not asking to do too much. But if he is on the power play line, I think that's where you let him go.
You put him on the power play, slot him into where he fits best.
The situation. We already talked about Matthews and Wall. What is facing both of these teams? For the Toronto Maple Leafs, they don't want to make it a 6 straight game 7 in which they lose. And for the Boston Bruins, for the second year in a row, they've had a 3-1 series lead. If they lose this one, it'll be 2 years in a row in which they've lost the series. Out there, we'll see what we think about it. I think there's more pressure now on the Boston Bruins only because the Toronto Maple Leafs have been used to this insanity. If the Bruins go down again, and after the comments that were made about Jim Montgomery addressing David Pastrnak and saying that he needs to step up, and by the way, I love those comments because he's absolutely correct. Something's got to happen. I think the pressure's on the Bruins today.
And no doubt, the pressure's on both teams, but I think more so on the Bruins because when you look at all the stats around, no team in NBA, MLB, or NHL history has blown a 3-1 series lead in consecutive postseasons. The Bruins don't want to become the first team to ever do that, but the Maple Leafs sure would be pleased to see that happen right in front of their very eyes. To join the elite company and the team that they around if they win tonight. Of course, the last time the Leafs they won, look back to 20 years ago. The first round against their in-province rivals, the Ottawa Senators. Strange but true, Joe Muirdyke was a Leaf that year.
Yeah, it's also a very strange. The Calgary Flame, a Dallas Star. It's It's been a lot of history there. So I'll take a quick look as we got about 10 minutes to puck drop here, maybe about 9.5. As Boston in this series, this is again including the regular season and postseason, they started 7-1 against the Toronto Maple Leafs. They had a 5-1 victory in Game 1, and then 3-1 consecutive victories in Games 3 and Games 4. So Game 1 started, Boston had a 4-0 lead after 2 periods. Swayman brilliant, 35 out of 36. Toronto answered to even the series at a game apiece. Tavares Matthews scored in the second and third, and Olmark stopped 31 of 34 in the loss. Game 3 was a 4-2 victory for Boston. Swayman again, very good, 28 out of 30. Marchand had back-to-back goals. And Game 4, 3-1. They took that one, 3-0 after 2 periods. Swayman 24 out of 25. Samsonov was pulled. I was wondering if it was time and Toronto was done, but I guess not. Game 7, that's his net today. If the series ended today, we would have an open discussion. But Toronto responded. Games 5 and Game 6 with consecutive 2-1 victories. Trent Frederick able to score one in Game 5. He got robbed by Wall for another one. And McCabe and Nyes finished it off. And then Game 6, Boston got a second buzzer beater, which we're presuming that's where Joseph Wall got hurt, especially off that bus. We saw him step gingerly on the Sportsnet feed. But Willie Nylander emerged back in the lineup and scored a pair. Wall was amazing for another game. He's not going to be available right now. We've seen some of the stuff with Steve Dangle. I laughed at some of those tweets that he threw out there, but he's correct. The way that you look at it with Ilya Samsonov, and Alec was right in this as well, it's not like it was a few seasons ago when he was a Washington Capital, when he looked locked into the postseason. Right now, Ilya Samsonov, his 5-hole looks like the Red Sea. And there's going to be a lot of Leafs fans that are wondering if they're going to be able to play that same way as they did in Games 5 and 6 because they have a goaltender shaky. Well, let's be honest. They pushed Boston, and they were able to force them to just 3 shots on goal through the first 40 minutes of the 2 opening periods in Games 5 and Game 6. I think they're going to have to do that again, Alec, because Ilya Samsonov, if he doesn't even have, let's say, his B-plus game, Toronto might be in trouble.
Let's say he has a B-plus game. Let's say that the benching of him could be used by him as confidence heading into Game 7 to learn from Joseph Wall and the moves that he did in Games 5 and 6. Would Samsonov use that as motivation heading into Game 7 within the wake of Wall's injury? And how long is Wall going to be out if Toronto moves on? For Samsonov, he has to lock in at least a B-plus game. We don't expect an A game from him. At least a B-plus will be tolerable.
Yeah, you got to get something. I would think if we had to guess going into it, I know we're just about 5 more minutes and then we'll get the puck drop here, but this is going to be a higher scoring game. There really is no way I can see Toronto explodes and Boston's still tentative, but I mean, you had Games 5 and 6 to learn from that. You can't be tentative anymore. They do need the effort from David Pastrnak. Brad Marchand's already given it. But for Toronto, let's just be honest here. Max Domi, I don't know why they ever play him on the wing anymore, because in Game first 9 draws, and he looked really good on that first line. Toronto's going to have to press, and this game might be closer to a 4-3 rather than a 2-1.
You're looking at it, the move to center on that first line with Tyler Bertuzzi and Mitch Marner on the wing is starting to look good on both fronts, with Domi accounting for 4 points, which ironically, he paces the team in points and is averaging at a .67 point per game pace. Austin Matthews is leading that way at .75, which would be mind-numbing for some reasons, but you do account for the fact that he has missed 6 games. Those were the last 2 wins for Toronto. Now that he's back on the lineup, and most likely on the third line role, which I can agree with. One other player that I can factor in, I think this is the player that I think is my player to watch on the third line with Matthews on that center position. Nick Robertson. What will he do offensively now that he has Matthews next to him? Albeit with Matthews on a lesser role this time around.
I like that call from you. We'll see what happens there because Nick Robertson is capable of showcasing some offense and fits and starts. But that is something to watch because you got a Boone on offense in that third line. And I know you mentioned this from a couple games ago, and I'll give you a shout out again because you nailed it. For Charlie Coyle and Pavel Zacha, yes, it's really hard to replace guys like Patrice Bergeron and David Krejci. No one's going to ask them to try to have the crazy heavy, but they both need to have more than 2 assists combined for each other. They need to score some goals.
And it has to come right now. If the Bruins were to win, it's not only about depending on the wins. Yes, Marchand got 8 points in the first 6 games. Yes, Jake DeBrusk had 5 points and 3 goals, which is tied for Marchand and Trent Frederick on the team leading goals in this series. But Pavel Zacha, Charlie Coyle, those are your 2 guys that you entrust as your 1A and 1B at the center position. Trent Frederick, he's arguably the hottest Bruin as of late in this series. You need to have the top guys show up in this series. I mean, Zacha and Coyle, not just 2 assists.
Yeah, and as you said, and we outlined it, Trent Frederick, I know he got robbed of his second goal, but Trent Frederick has got one. He's got more than Coyle and Saka combined. So that's got to change. And JVR, again, if we're looking for another name for me, only because of the former Leaf, let's say if it's a possibility, that's where he likes to aim. Maybe JVR gets on the score sheet again.
When we speak of at least former Bruins, well, we saw one of those key former Bruins that are up in the crowd. Well, we see another legendary name. We speak of the legends of the past. Patrice Bergeron, 11 years ago, he's waving the banner for the Boston Bruins for the stands tonight.
You sure he doesn't want to come down and put a jersey on?
He does have a jersey. Maybe use it for one last ride.
Yeah, I'd find it hard to believe. It's kind of like the way that Nick Lidstrom, when he retired, I would say the same thing for Patrice Bergeron. As soon as they're done, you still feel like 2 or 3 years after that, Alec, they still could have played NHL hockey and played quite well.
And he did, trying to get the Bruins to victory in games 5 through 7 last year. I called game 7 last year. At the result that just happened with the Florida Panthers pulling out the upset of the century in the NHL. But now you have a situation where the Leafs could pull up another stunning comeback upset as we see a Bruins fan at Maple Leaf Square. Well, he's the odd one out. It's the sea of gold at Beantown, both inside and outside the arena.
Yeah, how did he get such a good standing position in front of that line of fans? That's what I want to know. Who does he know?
It's me, John.
They're going through both of the anthems right now. I know when I was watching NHL Network, he was going to face, and we just saw the camera shot of him now on the ABC ESPN side, and he's got the same kind of calm demeanor with a half smile on his face. He seems locked in. I know we've been talking about Joseph Wall, and for good reason, but I think we should also spend at least
percentage. The 2 losses in the last 2 games were not because of him. He kept the Bruins in those 2 games. He just didn't have to help in front of him. This time around, maybe the Bruins regained that sense of confidence. Now that Ilya Samsonov is saying to start. Will Samsonov lock in? We discussed this previously. I have the feeling that Samsonov is going to use the benching in the last 2 games as motivation. I'm not sure how this comment will age out, but I hope it ages nicely.
So I know to your comments here, Alec, and again, I'll throw this YouTube comment that I just got. It said Samsonov being placed in the lineup may work to their benefit because they'll be more disciplined and they'll have to play on the right foot to start. So that kind of bleeds into your comments. I appreciate that, Howard Klein, for throwing that in there on the YouTube side. Now we're going to have a few people listening in today. Game 7, back-to-back days for Vegas and Dallas tomorrow. But we got the Bees and the Leafs. Again, this is an original 6 match. Has been ghosts for both of these teams. Samsonov 1-3, 331, 883 save percentage. Pulled in Game 4, the second period, 3 goals against on 17 shots. Is he going to channel some sort of heroics here? Jeremy Swayman 3-2, 160, 947 save percentage. This game 7 goals shots. So maybe I'll give you a prediction of my scoreline after this first period. Let's just wait and play the first 20 minutes.
I can see this becoming more of a 3-2 type of game. It's not going to be another 2-1 result. 3-2
So here we go. John Tavares gets set to take the draw against Pavel Zacha. And we're underway here in TD Garden in Boston. It's going to be a weekend of Game 7s. And we'll see who's going to advance. The winner in this series gets Florida. The winner of the series tomorrow gets the Colorado Avalanche. So it's going to be tough for both of these. They are showing Austin Matthews in the lineup today. He's going to be in the bottom 6 role as this one gets sent back immediately iced.
I wonder what impact both sides are going to have on early on. They're going to be on short rest. Whoever advances between the both of them. So no matter who wins this, you think the Florida Panthers are going to be licking their chops.
I was going to say the same thing, Alec, but I wanted you to jump on that first because I didn't want to derail any momentum just in case we disagreed here because, yeah, I'm right there with you. It's going to be a celebration for the first kicks in as you got to play the Panthers, and I think that's going to be tough for both of these teams. Pasternak near the right side wall. Pavel Zacha trying to get a lane. Again, they're going to need Zacha, Coyle. They're going to need Pasta as well. Even Morgan Geekie, the former Seattle Kraken member, he's been pretty decent. Stand out. They'll fire it in. Elias Samsonov will leave it here for Morgan Riley. And the Leafs now will try to take this right to left. They're in the road whites with the blue pants and white stripe, and the home black with the yellow and white striping. As this is picked up across the Boston logo, Brad Marchand gets the stick, and he'll flip this down to Coyle. On the left side for Benoit. As you get some players coming together, this is going to be a very physical game, as Alec and I mentioned. Plenty of games already with over 100 hits, not even including overtime, as this goes up into the crowd.
That bird line of Robertson, Matthews, and Yarncroke or Holmberg at 5-on-5 this season. They're going to be getting the bulk of the work on this bird line altogether. So it's Holmberg and not Robertson that we're I was wanting Robertson on that bird line with Matthews.
I'm kind of wondering if they're going to use Pontus Holmberg as a little bit more of a shutdown. I know Austin Matthews is a great 200-foot game, but can hurt. Maybe have that there and then have Matthews provide whatever scoring punch he can. But I know we're both on the lines of if it's a power play, we're going to see number 34. We'll see how much he plays today. Maybe 15 minutes plus, question mark. We'll figure it out. Wotherspoon near the left side as it's Yarncroke able to get this pass. Joel Edmondson through the traffic, but it hits the Boston bodies. It'll be a race for the puck now. Bees, nice play off the forehand. Wotherspoon sent it toward the net. And this one near the left side post bounced away. Now, picked up in behind the cage for Toronto, but it's still busy right now as Matthews able to flip it, but he took a big hit as this goes back now for the Boston defense. Forwards take a change for Boston squad as they're able to send this one in right now. Picked up now for David Kampf. And now on the defensive side, get a chance to push this back around. Left side. He's going to try to dance this around the net now. Pass is loose near the left side post, and the Bees able to escape with it as Camp. Able to send it to McCabe. Now across the left side red line. Toronto finds the entry. Here's a wrister that misses the right side post. It's kept in by Toronto's defense. Now on the right side boards. Picked up off the stick lift. David Camp, some excellent work, but this is lost in between some skate blades. And now Boston trying to take this one left to right. Here's an outstretch across the blue line. As they're going to toe drag in between a few set of legs. Picked up now by Ilya Lyubushkin. Off the drop. Nice. We'll send this one back across for John Tavares off the spin. Hand. He makes a couple spin moves. There wasn't a lot of space. This will go D to D. Riley will send this one in off the glass. Tavares tried to wrap around in front of Boston defense is there. Mason Lohrei trying to get this out, but Pasta loses the puck. Good work here. Nylander trying to make a move between his legs. Now Pasta off a one-on-one. Stick drag, and we'll shoot it wide and across the end boards here as Boston will flip back around. 2 goals in this series, 47 in the regular season for Pasta. Huge hit behind the net as this is now near the right side. And around the end boards now, Edmondson. Morgan Geekie against Liljegren. There's nowhere to go right now. Marchand trying to get a stick in there. It's Bertuzzi. He can't finish his hit and will fall back to Tavares. There's a soft flip in the corner. This will bounce away from the referee. 15:45 left to go in this first as Pasta in his helmet after that hit. Picked up now Charlie Coyle. They'll toe drag. There's a good drop pass toward the net. Samsonov says no with the left pad. It was a juicy rebound, but Toronto picks it up. Now Domi, stick lifted. 2 shots on goal apiece, but the action's been a little bit of a fever pitch right now. McKay finding in between his skate blades. Now I'll have to play this around the end wall. It's still very busy. Almost one forechecker for Boston, able to get around 3 leaps. Now they'll settle it down as Domi had to go back from his own end to play it. And now McCabe can take a breath here. I think we all need to. 15 minutes left to go in the first. John alongside Alec Nava. It's game 7. Winner gets the Florida Panthers. As this one's dumped in. Picked up now for Swayman. And the left side boards. Boston trying to break out. Left side red line, find the entry, go offside, does JVR.
Thought it was Justin Brasso who was caught just a bit offside. He was falling down with Austin Matthews simultaneously, but we both had some scares previously with the Bruins having 2 good chances. JVR, and on the follow-up, I think that was that Jake DeBrusk. I can't get a good number of that, but I'm assuming that was DeBrusk who got the turnaround shot.
You
but
did.
That was a juicy rebound that Samsonov left behind.
You got it. DeBrusk and Brasso there. DeBrusk with the chance until I got it off the replay there. It was very close. It was loose near the right side of the crease. As this is Mason Lohrei off the back pass. And now Toronto trying to get this across the wall. We'll take it D to D. Here's a pass in between the right side dot now. Lohrei been very busy and behind his own net again. He's been inserted in eyes and some of this grit and sandpaper. Morgan Riley. There's a touch pass near the right side. Dot Riley chips it off the glass with his stick. As his left side, players fall down like bowling pins. And we'll see if there's going to be any calls here. Ilya Bushkin will start this one clean in his own end. Morgan Riley. Now an entry there, Marner, Camp, and this one goes towards Swayman. And now we'll get some pushing and shoving with Wotherspoon.
Parker Wotherspoon underrated Bruins that Jim Montgomery's been liking. His shot blocking ability and his 200-foot game that he can go up and down. Someone similar to a Derek Forbort type. Forbort hasn't played in the playoffs this season, but with Forbort, Jim Montgomery knows what he's getting in the shot. Same thing is with Wotherspoon.
I agree with you, Alec. Again, he's been in the NHL for a long time for that type of game, and that's exactly what and that's what the Bruins need. They still need that defensive presence, and they also need a little bit of push on the offensive end. Against comments about playing a dump and chase type of game, well, at least now Toronto has been able to actually get the chase part over the last couple of games, and it's worked out well for them as this series is tied 3-3. They had back-to-back win, one variety. So Jim Montgomery and Sheldon Keefe's squad both take a change as this one gets flipped in. Simon Benoit. Now for John Tavares, trying to keep this alive, one-handed, trying to make a pass for number 88, Willie Nylander, as this one gets sent back for an icing.
Offside because Nylander was 2 steps ahead of the blue line. He was right in front. The pass was made by the lead. The ref thought that wasn't offside.
So it's going to be the first break for us. A 0-0 game. Again, ABC profiling Austin Matthews a little bit. And Edmondson. How do you do to David Pastrnak?
And Joel Edmondson has never lost a Game 7 in his career. Is looking to break the Leafs of 5 straight Game 7 losses. Both are going to continue, or both are going to keep going.
That is why we got. I was going to throw something out there for tomorrow's game, but I'm assuming that you already know this as well. I didn't know this going into it unless it was said, but Peter DeBoer 7. So that's good for Dallas tomorrow.
And Peter DeBoer 7-0 in eliminating his Game 7s, as you said. One of them against the Vegas Golden Knights previously. That was in the 2019 West quarterfinal against Vegas with the San Jose Sharks. And he also won another with the Golden Knights, Game 7 against the Vancouver Canucks in the COVID bubble. But then again, some streaks may be bound to end at times. Look at the Pittsburgh Penguins on road Game 7s. Their first Game 7 road loss came just 2 years ago against the Rangers.
Yep, yes, you're right. Some things are made to be broken. That's what records and streaks are for. I'm looking at because there's only other one sporting event that's major going on right now, and it's game one finals, Denver and Minnesota. And Minnesota hanging tough. 25 points on 10 of 18 shooting, and 20 points for Karl Anthony Towns. Minnesota only down 60-57 with 6:19 in the third. And Jokic was 17, and Michael Porter Jr. was 16.
I would presume that the winner of this series could go on to the end of the Western Conference, but I'm not counting out that OKC and Dallas matchup. Anything can happen in the NBA. Dallas taught us that when they faced Phoenix 2 years ago, and they took them out in 7 games.
I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I would be very to see if Oklahoma City can make the finals, and then we can have those comparisons and say, is this team better than the team with Harden, Durant, Ibaka, and Westbrook?
I mean, let's be honest. It could be up for debate, but it's going to be a long about what it means with KD, Harden, Westbrook, Serge Ibaka, Aaron Butler, compared to SGA, Giddy, Holmgren, Jalen Williams, Butler.
Yeah, it's a very good young squad, so I'm just throwing it out there. Not saying it's going to happen, but I really feel like Sam Presti and company with all those. I'm a little jealous because it didn't take them long to build.
And they already made to the second round in their first try in the playoffs.
Yeah.
If they win this one, they already go deeper than the trusted process Sixers.
Yeah, and that says an awful lot about them. Shots on goal 3-2. And we're scoreless here in game seven, 13:21 left, really just getting underway. Again, that's big to throw that out there because Ilya Samsonov in the goal crease, not Joseph Wolf. He's out with an injury. And we don't know how extensive it is, but Austin Matthews is in the bottom six today, so he is playing. Maybe about 15 minutes. McAvoy will pick up the hard icing, so Toronto can't change.
And ever since that 2015 Game 7 win for the Bruins, they have not won a Game 7 when they're facing an opponent not named the Toronto Maple Leafs. Losing Canadians, the St. Louis Blues, the Carolina Hurricanes, and the Florida Panthers in that span.
This is now near the right side. Very geeky, trying to make a play. And this is near the left side. Turnaround chance. This one gets blocked. Boston looking down. McAvoy trying to pick it up near the right side red line. Here's a pass. It's a good one. And a perfect shot block for Benoit. Boston buzzing. Toronto trying to get it out right now. Almost gets stolen near the left side red line and sent back around the end boards. Boston all over this puck. For a tip in front for Zaka. They really need him to get going. Pasternak with a little bit of a cross check, and then he's going to get blasted across the boards. McAvoy sends it across. All of a sudden, this game has really started to open up. That was some dangerous pressure there for the Bees, and Samsonov didn't have his stick. He still doesn't have one right now. So Toronto's got to realize this and push this play the other way. Here's a stick chop picked up across the Bruins logo. Now Coyle, as Samsonov's got his twig now. This is put in for DeBrusque, but too far there. Edmondson trying to get it out. Toronto now, as this pass gets intercepted. Good work there for Charlie Coyle. Here's an entry near the left side. DeBrusque tried to send it out in front. That was very dangerous.
They knew that Samsonov did not have a stick for that long of a possession, but the Bruins, they were fuzzy. That's why that Samsonov couldn't just get out and get his stick. Simon Benoit knew that Mason Lohrei had a wide open chance, jumped to it, used his body to sacrifice himself. That get on the goal. Excellent defensive awareness by Benoit, an underrated addition to the Leafs team.
Yes, he has. Again, that was one of the things from the Stanley Cup capsules from the beginning I threw out there. I said the Toronto defensive core isn't as bad as people make it out to be. I think it's a little overblown. That was good effort there. And honestly, as that was getting bounced around, Samsonov's stick was getting bounced around by about 6 different players. So it was just complete chaos out in front. He's
It could have easily been broken any of those possessions.
absolutely. So this was through the traffic, and Samsonov on the latest chance, he just gloves it with the right hand like it was nothing. So that's a good confidence save. Here's another offensive zone draw. Stop by, and now picked up for McCabe. He's trying to lead a rush off a 3-on-3, dumped in for Kelly on Crow. As this goes back around for Brandon Carlo, this one's sent down deep for the Leafs. Again, winner gets Florida. It's game 7. It's winner go home right now. Rush the other way. Boston 3-on-2. Long wrister stop.
I almost thought that would have been the same way that Johnny Beecher scored his first career playoff goal. It looked to be that way, but Austin Matthews, he was rushing back on defense. Didn't walk off any shooting lanes or passing lanes. Good job there on the hustle, but good job by the Bruins to get some more early shots. And the Bruins who have been controlling the pace. We need this type of hustle Leafs.
And again, we can throw this out there because you're correct, Al. We can throw this out there for the Bruins and say, hey, you have an opportunity with this activity in the first period to pretty much quadruple your shot chances from Game 5 and Game 6 in the first.
Basically, it shows. They had just one shot all Game 6, 2 shots all Game 5. That's just in the first period. But already, they're picking up the pace, exactly what Jim Montgomery wants them to do.
Yeah, they have to. And again, I thought he called that out in the post game for Games 5 and 6 because he had to. It's not just because you want to light a fire. Obviously, you're going to do that, but you need your players to step up that are really good to be able to make plays and score points. That's just the way it works. Your best players have to play your best. As this one is flipped back in now. Marner tried to find it, but this will be touched by Boston. Picked up now for Carlo. This one gets flipped. It's a bouncing puck. Backhand toward the net, but Toronto bodies are there. This has been a real Leafs right now. And again, with Samsonov and net, they kind of have to do that. At least allow a settling in period. Boston, 6 shots on goal already. And as Alec mentioned, just in the last Game 5, Game 6, we've thrown that out there several times. And in the first 40 minutes in the first period, they had just 3 shots. So they've already doubled that combined. Picked up now for Camp off his backhand. It's Morgan Riley. I'll try to funnel it at the net, but the pass gets picked off. It's Parker Wotherspoon now. We'll make an outstretch near the left side red line as this one gets flipped in. We'll see if one of the Bees can get to it. It's a 1-on-3. Edmondson with a good job on as this one sent in. Now Matthew Nyes, he's trying to get a whole bunch of stick lifts there. He almost did it. And this will be sent the other way, iced against the Bees.
That's one of the rare mistakes we saw the Bruins make in that first period, icing the puck, with them having control into the net. But I feel it was a good job more on Matt Nyes' part to force that icing on the errant pass by Charlie McAvoy.
I agree. And it looks like themselves earlier.
Yeah, so far so good.
John Tavares off the draw. Benoit will get pinned against the boards as he'll try to send this back around the embankment. And this is here for Boston and Toronto to try to get this puck. Morgan Geekie between the stick battles of John Tavares and now an outstretched feed. Here's Pasta off the stick. Willie Nylander gets the interception. Here's a heck of a sauce pass to Tavares. He's still got to spin around to pick it up, though. Back to Nylander. Nylander now being profiled by ESPN. This slap shot goes way wide as it's Riley. He'll send it toward the traffic. Swayman able to stop it with the right pad. They were shooting low. Dangerous pass. Gets out of the zone somehow. Here's Coyle. All he can do is flip it in. He's got to take a change. 9 left to go in this first round. I'm here with you alongside Alec Nava. It's Game 7. We're at TD Garden. It's a 0-0 game so far, but it's a much better effort here for Boston and Toronto. Their defensive intensity has been there, just like Games 5 and 6. Coyle, flutter toward the net, goes wide. Jake DeBrusk, try to be the first to get to it now. This is up for a moment. This will go back to D. Picked up now Marchand. We'll send it across. Here's a big rebound. Stopped by Samsonov. He leapfrogs on it.
So far, it's been what we were expecting from Samsonov. The mental reset after he was benched in the last 2 games. And he's been playing like what I was expecting him to do. Stopping every shot. Control the rebounds. Total control at your own crease when you're getting pounded with sticks. 8 saves already.
Nope, and that's why you're the smart man and I'm not, Alec, because I didn't see this coming right now for Samsonov. I thought he'd be a little bit more leaky. I figured that Boston was going to get a lot of shots on goal here and try to push the action because they have to. And right now, so as we're past the halfway point of this first period. Again, the Leafs did a smart thing strategy wise to control the pace at the start. Another comment and a couple other ones saying this is going to be an exciting game 7 as we got an Oilers fan in here. And again, the Oilers are going to be playing against the Vancouver Canucks.
An old Canadian matchup. I have the feeling that hockey Twitter is not going to survive this, whether it be this series or the.
Yeah, everybody's going to be feeling the sweaty palms and the nervous and excitement, and I think we are too. I'm enjoying this. I mean, the fact that we get back-to-back game 7s of this quality in between Boston and Toronto, and then you get Dallas and Vegas tomorrow. What more could you ask for?
And we were wanting it between the Stars and the Golden Knights, and we are getting a 7-game series. Peak hockey entertainment, everything that you can ask for, and then some.
I think by the time the series steps back into it, Alec, I will cover game 2 in between the Hurricanes and the Rangers. I'm going to take Monday off because I got 6 to 7 days streaming and I need a break. But if you want to jump in on the Wednesday side, depending on what you're doing, I know we wanted to get into the Hurricanes and the Rangers, and we will.
Yeah, how about it? The Canes. We don't want to miss out on that.
No, and it's crazy because game 1 is starting early on Sunday, and then we have a game 7 after that.
Yes, the second round is as a whole is starting before the Stars Golden Knights game 7.
This is now a defensive zone draw. Jake McKay, he's been pretty good in this series, honestly, for the Leafs. As this one sent in, he's just a responsible defensive forward. He plays obviously, but he can also score some goals. That's why I threw that out there. Someone was trying to sell a stick in the face, and Swayman falls down and makes the save. But I thought maybe Pasternak got hit up toward the dome.
Yeah, this puck, I don't know if this was going to go wide or towards the top right corner of the right net, but Simon Benoit lifted that one up. Jeremy Swayman saw it through the screens and flash marked.
Yeah, I don't know how he did that because you're right. You got a Toronto player David Camp. You got Lindholm screening his own goalie. And you had Swayman to save. That's acrobatic at its finest.
Yeah, so far so good for Swayman.
Austin Matthews will get an offensive zone draw. Again, good to see him back out there. Marner, Edmondson to the screen. It's very loose, and Swayman trying to do some housekeeping. This is picked up by the defense. Edmondson will fire it deep again. Bertuzzi trying to find the puck. Again, he's playing against his former team. Kind of wonder how that feels. As this is now for the left side, Quell trying to pin it loose. Bertuzzi gets it across the wall to Edmondson. He looks for a tip. He wanted to find this one chipped off the glass. Good reverse hit there for the Leafs. This will fall back to Edmondson. Smartly put this one off the glass, but Boston has shots on goal are 8-4. Boston find the entry. It's near the left side. Edmondson, Beecher, John Tavares. They're all trying to find this near the right side red line. Matthew Nyes as well. Toronto will emerge from it, trying to take it right to left. Good forecheck here for Jim Montgomery's squad. And now John Tavares will take a slow clear as he gets blasted near the left side board, stays on his feet. This goes across the Bees logo. Here's an opportunity. McAvoy! And now he'll get a flyby in front of Samsonov. That might draw a crowd.
I almost thought that this was deflected off the stick, and then everyone coming together so far, as we may be seeing through the ice, the Bruins having the upper hand, but the Leafs, they had some in the last possession. It was nice seeing Austin Matthews. They're asking him to be on the top line in that sequence with Bertuzzi and Marner as weird as it looks, because over this stretch in the closing stage of the regular season, they would usually deploy Matthews with Bertuzzi and Max Domi.
Yeah, you're going to have to change a little bit because of the injury designations. Again, we talked about no rest for the weary here, and for both of these teams. Winner's going to play Florida. They're going to do so Monday, about an 8:15 Eastern start. So they're going to have to gear right back up and go to Florida and try to figure out the Panthers. I'm excited for that one. I don't know how it's going to go. I'm assuming Florida is going to win that series, depending on whoever takes this today. But I'll be excited to watch that one on Monday. As gets a hand pass, we're going to stop it with 7:04.
So Jim Montgomery, 744 regular season points percentage. He's during the regular season, but he has to step it up come playoff time. If you count for series clinching games, the only game that Jim Montgomery has won on in a series clinching game was his first one when he was in the Dallas Stars, 2019 Game 6, West quarterfinal against the Predators. He's lost all 7 ever since.
So we talked about the regular season points. You've thrown out the playoff record. Is there any thought in your mind that if Boston doesn't win this, they might can Montgomery?
Who knows?
Yeah, we don't know yet because I think it'd be really hard to move on from a coach like that. But from Bruce Cassidy, go figure. This is a wraparound opportunity trying to find it. And now here's a slap shot for Edmondson. Bounces off a couple skates and blades. Boston trying to take a long outstretched pass as this is near the left. Edmondson, Marchand, Coyle as they'll try to get this near the left side. Dobbin escaping the pressure now. Domi will send it as a good hit. Takes up one of the Leafs off the puck. And now left to right come Jim Montgomery's squad. And they're trying to get away from yet another 3-1 series being blown. And Toronto has dropped 6 Game 7s in a row. This goes into the bench. Now we get some pushing and shoving with Liljegren and Wotherspoon.
Of course, original 6 rivals who don't like each other. As you pointed out, one team is going to face joy, the other is going to face pain like they've never experienced before.
Yeah, this is absolute theater. And again, I mentioned this as far as the pregame side of it between the Twitter and X space, and I kind of put like a scared emoji with a teeth. This game is going to go. Right now, we talk about watching Austin Matthews in his ice time. Right now, 310, 1 hit, 3 out of 5 on draws. So I think so far so good for number 34.
And so far, they're managing his ice time nicely. To limit him, not use him too much, do not overuse him. Of course, John Tavares, the leader among the forwards at 440. Morgan Riley overall at 530. So far, it's good management on Matthews' part.
Yes, it is. And again, I'm wondering as they continue to manage that. Let's say the Leafs advance, then you're playing against a very physical team in the Panthers. How do you manage that? I mean, I guess it'll be a good problem to have if they can get that Sunday off and then figure it out on Monday with the travel day. As this pass McAvoy has got a lane to shoot. Pontus Holmberg cleans it up. He might ice it. I don't think he's going to care, though, as this one goes down the ice. Hybrid icing against the Leafs.
They're showing the ironic sequence. Last season's series to this season's series. So between them, the Bruins won, lost in overtime, then lost the first 6 games between this season and last season in the first round. Last year they lost in overtime. If they lose in OT.
I wouldn't be able to comprehend it. We'll see what happens after 60 minutes, and we'll see if we need overtime. But Alec, I would be shocked if they do it again for 2 straight years. I'm not shocked that Toronto's forced to Game 7. We've kind of seen that in the history of these 2 teams, but you'd think you'd learned something a little bit from last year. Those tentative starts in Game 5 and 6 really bit them in the behind. On now, we'll try to get this near the left side red line. Here's an opportunity. Tavares, get this one. Now right to left. Here come the Leafs. As this is in across the wall now. Jake McCabe trying to go ahead and find some pressure. Matthew Nyes off the spin as it's picked up here for Mason Lohrei. Lohrei outstretched. Costa, good work to pick this one up off his skates. Fire Morgan Geeky. Try to go ahead and intercept this puck. Zaka, he takes a big hit to make a play. This will go D to D. Carlo can't hold it clean. We'll have to send this around the inboards now for Pasta. 4:45 left to go in the first. A shot near the left side of the crease. Sanov's got it.
And some more pushing and shoving afterwards. Of course, this is a rivalry game. You know this is a rivalry game. With the 2 teams headed towards one another. These 2 have demons that they have to slay.
And it's a good thing that Toronto is also sponsored because their bones are going to need some repair after this series. Again, we said multiple times where this series has been over 100 hits combined. So then you got to play Florida. So I really don't know how it's going to work out for these two, but this is going to be a fun game seven.
And let me tell you something. The three teams that we mentioned,
Mhm.
Florida, Boston, and Toronto, these are the three most physical teams in
Right.
the NHL per hit totals. So whoever wins this series, the physicality is going to be ramped up another level in the second round.
I can't even comprehend. I mean, that would be like 150, 160 hits maybe if this game goes long. And again, if you're Florida, and we keep mentioning them because they'll be the next opponent for one of these two teams, they love to play games in overtime.
Straight overtime playoff victories for them dating back to 2021 with Ryan Lomberg. They snapped the Hurricanes' 7-game playoff overtime winning streak. But let's be fair, that game, someone was going to be guaranteed to extend their streak to 8 games.
Absolutely. Again, we're getting closer to the end of this first period, and then we'll get an intermission, and then I'll flip it back over to Alec Nava. And so, Cole, second, we got 4:44 left to go in this first as Emily Kaplan is interviewing Jim Montgomery. Again, Emily Kaplan, she through the news, I saw it a little bit for Joseph Wall, but then I heard it again, and you just see him coming off the bus a little bit gingerly, and you're thinking, boy, oh boy, not again after you feel like you've had a goaltending savior. But as Alec mentioned, and I've seen it too throughout this play-by-play, Ilya Samsonov, very strong first period sign. Now all Toronto has to do is start to jumpstart their offense again. It would be very fitting if Austin Matthews.
Either him or John Tavares. If we're going to go for first goal picks, I would be thinking Brad Marchand and Max Domi.
I think that's probably as smart as you can take it there, Alec, especially for Marchand. He's been excellent in this series. You can't say that for all the Boston Bruins. Screen from McAvoy, shot I should say, gets picked up by Samsonov. No traffic in front.
As this month is Asian and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, I'd like to take a moment to honor some Pacific Islander NHL players like Nick Suzuki and Jason Ross.
Very cool by you to throw that out there again, playing some very meaningful hockey. And again, for the Montreal Canadiens, that's a team that I think is going to be on the rise as this puck goes on a play. And for Robo, I think he is one of the very best in the league already. I couldn't believe some of the comments that I saw last year about Jason. What fans think about a 21-year-old? He's already playing like a superstar.
There's a lot of debate about who's better between him and Kirill Kaprizov. Some would say Kaprizov, or as others would say Jason Robertson, both for very good reasons. Well, I'm not going to participate in this debate.
Yes, he does. As this is near the right side, Marchand will flip this one in. Charlie Coyle will try to get this near the left side and pick up for Benwell off the backhand. It's turned over. See what Boston can do with this. A complete fan of the shot. Race for the puck now. Matthew Nyes has speed. He picks it up. Cross for Nylander. Oh, what a stopper, Swayman.
As we thought we would see the game's opening goal here, William Nylander was the only two Toronto goals last game, thinking that Nyes tripped up on the Bruins. That was Jake DeBrusk, tied him up. And DeBrusk, he just fell down, slipped on his toe with Nyes spinning him out. Nyes finding the open Nylander at the slot. Jeremy Swayman stopping him blind.
That is excellent work there. And you imagine that's why you got the youngster, Matthew Nyes. And I think you said it right with Jake DeBrusk. He kind of felt like he just blew a tire there. Stood up Nylander. What a fantastic save to be able to keep this still scoreless with 3:55 left to go in the first. You need the full sets. This is now an opportunity. Edmondson gets pasted against the boards. And another turnover here for Toronto on their own end. As Edmondson's got to take some more punishment. Brasso! This is right into the breadbasket from JVR.
Oh, just almost the goal in which JVR wanted to get revenge on after so many years with the Toronto Maple Leafs 2013, 2018, 2019. He certainly does not want to lose his fourth playoff series in this rivalry. Certainly
And again, maybe shame on JVR. He didn't shoot that 1-5 hole. Usually when he does that, he tried to actually get a little bit more lift. This one goes right in the stomach.
You think 5-0 would be the way to go up against Samsonov. Oh, JVR, he picked one of the sides here.
This will be a face-off push-out, so Johnny Beecher, it'll be Boquist. He can't win it, as this one is flipped back down. Scoring chances are 4-2. Toronto just ices this thing, so we'll start it again.
And for Boston, they have the edge in shots 11-5 as everyone wants to get reset on this, especially Toronto. And their own end, their defense, they have stepped up over time.
They have, and I do think this last probably couple minutes here starting to get a little dicey for them pushing up the offensive pressure. A couple good saves for Samsonov and Swayman, respectively. This is a big face-off opportunity for Beecher against Camp. Camp, one of the better draw guys that we have in the league, especially if he plays that bottom six role. Beecher does win it, though, as this goes now from Wotherspoon. Touch pass. Goes in behind the cage now. Here's a loose puck for Patrick Maroon. We'll get this one D to D. And somehow Boston just holds it in as Maroon, no stranger to body contact. This is off the right side red line pin. David Camp emerges with it right now as Morgan Riley able to get this across the blue line. 3:05 left to go in this first. We're still scoreless. We've said that a lot in this series. This is back in. There'll be an opportunity for Maroon. We'll just throw a hit out there as Toronto will get it set up. Austin Matthews lost it in between his skates. Now chip it ahead for Pontus. Pontus Holmberg near the left side will fire it in and across the red line. Matthews gives chase as this is an opportunity now for Marchand in his own end. 2:35 left to go in the first round here with you alongside Alec Nava. Game 7. Shots on goal are 11-5 for Boston. We'll get a stoppage.
And for what it's worth, it's very rare that we see a 1-0 final score in a Game 7. The most recent of which came in 2021 with the Lightning beating the Islanders in that game. But that was few and far in it. Then you have to go all the way back further, as I'm still looking, to 2011, the Bruins beating the Lightning in the East Final.
And again, we talk about the Lightning a couple times here, Alec. You kind of wonder if that window's closed. I mean, you had 3 guys that had over 40 goals scored, and yet they got beat up pretty Panthers. Now the Florida Panthers are awaiting one of these two teams. As this is near the right side, Tavares. This will be picked up now. Tavares able to get it at for Nylander. He gets all tied up. Good work there for Lindholm.
And good work by Toronto in forcing this turnover at their Boston's end. With Nylander skating his number to right wing side, he tried to pick the short side from where he sat on Jeremy Swayman, slowed down by Boston's defense. Good work defensively on both ends.
Interesting numbers, right? 2-7 is Toronto at home with 344 goals against them, but 6-2 on the road with 250. Maybe they just feel less pressure against the home fans.
Seems that way.
Boyle will get a defensive zone draw. Again, Boston not having any problems starting this Game 7. Max Domi. This is a wrist save. Off in there from Domi near the left side post. 1:59 left to go in the opening period.
And for Toronto, thus far, this is the spark that they need out there. D shots, more open opportunities. Max Domi choosing the far side, blocker side on Jeremy Swayman as well. You want to go blocker side more on these goaltenders because that's their weak side.
That blocker there when he was trying to pick up the puck, and we'll do this face-off again. That was a puck that was continuing to bounce, but then the ref said Swayman had control of it. That looked a little dangerous there for Swayman. First time he did look leaky on a rebound attempt. As we'll do this draw again. Marner going to get set to take this one. They'll win it. Circles here, especially in the opening period. Marner off the backhand, Domi, dangerous pass. Boston able to escape the pressure, blow a tire there. Marner forces a steal. Bertuzzi back to Mitchell Marner, and this will be flipped again. The ref's got to jump out of the way. We've already seen that a few times. As this is picked up here from Morgan Riley. Riley now. Looks like he's all by his lonesome. He finds the entry down left side. Bertuzzi slap pass deflection by Domi. And this goes back and behind the mesh. As this is picked up now for Boston off the long flip. Settle up now for Boston. Brasso will shoot this wide around the inboards. And now Boston will pick it up in their own end. 1:10 left to go in this opening period. We get another whistle.
As you mentioned about Justin Brasso, who's inserted into the lineup by Jim Montgomery to account for size and grit. All that sandpaper is turning out nicely.
Yes, it is. And again, that's another one of the reasons you also bring in on defense Mason Lohrei. That's what Jim Montgomery said this team was missing. And now they're in a critical game 7. I know these players love to play in it, but again, only one of these guys can move on. And they're going to be playing again on Monday to start game 1. In Matthews, a neutral zone draw. Simon Benoit, 7 minutes of ice time, 2 hits, 4 blocked shots. It's an A-plus effort right now. Morgan Geekie will get set to take it as well, but number 34 wins it. And now Benoit, as they're profiling him, this one goes back to Mitchell Marner. Down to the seconds of this opening frame. This is now Marner, still dancing with the puck. In and across the red line and fire it in. There's a finish of a hit. Pontus Holmberg trying to make a play. And now we'll see if Edmondson can put this one down deep. Austin Matthews, he's out there in the game's final minute. Somebody lost his stick. That was one of the Bruins. This is wrapped around trying to find Marner up backhand near the left post. But this one gets picked off. Possible. Flip it in. Settled down for Samsonov. Down to 25 seconds. First period shot, 3 total. Games 5 and 6. Today, 11. So much better effort for the Bees, but we're still scoreless. Here is a neutral zone pass. Willie Nylander gains the entry across the middle. Now to the right side. Shot goes up into the netting. 10 seconds left.
Better start for the Bruins in this first period. But go down the stretch, the momentum may be shifting over to the Leafs as they're making the smarter plays and the smarter decisions with this puck. Just coasting casually onto the opposite side, just like there's a lot of pressure to win this game for them, but not as big as the Bruins.
No, I like that, Alec, that you mentioned it, because I'm seeing it too with the Leafs and especially the Bruins as well. Just take the opportunities that are there. Don't try to force anything. Continue your offensive activity and also give good defensive pressure. First period for both of these squads, I think Sheldon Keefe and Jim Montgomery would be happy with it. Let's go to the dressing room. It's scoreless.
Yeah, a scoreless first period. I'm wondering when previously we've seen a scoreless first period in this series. You'd imagine that those are few and far and in between in playoff hockey, because sometimes you imagine that it'll be 1-1 after one. That's simply not the case.
No, it's not. And I think, Alec, we might actually have a good opportunity here on the TNT side, I believe, is where this game is being played. Minnesota and Denver down to their final 5 minutes. So you could probably catch the end of it and flip back.
Yeah, we could. Just a live look-in of sorts, and also maybe some discussion about what is of the playoff series. So currently it is the Timberwolves up ahead 89-84.
So again, this one's way ahead of me. So we'll watch this now. I'm looking at the box score as well. I'm about 40 seconds behind, as this is opportunity for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and this one gets picked off by Anthony Edwards. So we'll go ahead and kind of preview some of this ahead as far as some of these series. Do you want to start with the NBA or do you want to start with the NHL?
Well, since this is hockey-centric, we can start with the NHL.
Okay, so let's just go ahead for the one that we already know on Sunday, and between the Rangers and the Hurricanes. I know you're holding up, but when I'm looking at it, as far as the penalty kill and power play, two of the best teams in the league, really second and first between both sides going up against each other. That's going to be an epic series. Honestly, you can't tell the difference between the two teams. I would be shocked if it doesn't go at least 6.
That would be the big surprise. If it doesn't go 6, then we may be disappointed here. The Hurricanes, their big strength is playing at home. But the Rangers, they also know how to defend home ice, especially in the playoffs. The woes for the Canes in the Rod Brindamore era are on the road.
It does happen sometimes. Again, I remember that series not too long ago with the Bees when they were able to finish it off. But it seemed like every single time they were away from PNC, they couldn't put a puck in the net, and they struggled to win any games.
Yeah, no way. And that came back to bite them in the second. He scored more than 2 goals. Was game 5 in a 3-1 victory. Everything, either 1 goal or 2 goals. You don't win series with scoring either 1 goal or 2 goals. That's not sustainable. And the Canes, after that, they get a big name goal scorer, Jake Gensel, and now they're back up in serious playoff contention mode in the all-in push. The Rangers, the answer with Jack Roslick and Alex Wedberg, which is depth additions, but addresses key needs. Plus, Philip Keto, as I mentioned before the playoffs, he has an outside chance of
That would be really good to see, Alec. I know that they miss him as part of that kid line still. I know maybe I shouldn't say that for too many more years because they've already been playing together, but Hedel is one of those sandpaper guys as well that can also score a ton of goals. And I like the Rangers. I like the Hurricanes. I just hope that, and I bench for the Canes, I hope we don't get any more 15-second penalty shots from Evgeny Kuznetsov.
Trying to get used to it now with Kuznetsov on the Hurricanes. It's still kind of annoying.
Yeah, it's just what if you're a goaltender? What are you supposed to do? You're going to obviously back up when someone skates forward, and it's just the slow crawl and then finish it. So I guess the only thing for the Rangers is they can't afford to give any of those up. But I'm not going to give you a winner yet because I honestly, Alec, I'm not sure. But I would say that series. I'm going to give you a stamp guarantee. It's 6.
I want to go in 7. So if you want to go back to the goaltender part about facing the Kuznetsov penalty shots, shootout shots, if you're a goaltender, I petition a shootout shot clock.
Absolutely. We should get that in there to Gary Bettman and put that on his desk because I agree with you. I would sign that as well. The West, and I know it's the all Canadian affair, and between the Edmonton Oilers and the Vancouver Canucks, I watched some of the post game yesterday on the TNT side with Paul Bissonnette, and I happen to think that he's a smart man. He's got some outlandish opinions here and there. I know he's a diehard Leaf fan, but still, I'm looking at it. Vancouver is done. But I just have a feeling, Alec, that the Oilers might feed the Canucks their lunch. I think that one might be short, and I'm going to go Oilers.
You know, if the Canucks have Thatcher Demko healthy, I would be picking the Canucks to win. Now that it's down to Arthur Sheloffs and potentially Casey Smith coming back, I'm with you there. The Oilers are going to be all over the Canucks. Yes, Sheloffs is a good story. Is it sustainable, Joe? Well, if you go back to a team that previously had Jim Rutherford as general manager, that being the Pittsburgh Penguins, even though he was no longer on the team by that point, Louis Domingue showed that even though he was a nice feel-good story in games 1, 3, and 4 that first-round series against the Rangers, it's not sustainable at this point. That's my concern about Sheloffs, that all of a sudden reality may come down to him and that he's going to burn out. One animal. The Oilers are a way different breed of offense. They can score in bunches up and down for the lineup now. Now that they have the addition of Adam Henrique. You have Evander Kane, who's a silently good goal scorer for the Oilers. Of course, you have not mentioning the obvious names here. We know what they're capable of, and for that reason, to both of us.
Yeah, and I think as we mentioned his name a bunch of times, and Evan Bouchard from Paul Coffey, that's been excellent. Matthias Ekholm has been an excellent shutdown player. I'm starting to try to get more of an even keel approach when I discuss the Oilers. See them play defense and lock down a little bit. That gets me to buy in a little bit more, rather than the names that we always mention. And Stuart Skinner has been pretty good in net for the Oilers as well. So I think it's going to be tough for the Canucks. I might lean 5, honestly. I think I'll just say it right now. We'll see what happens, though. If Sheloffs can stand on his head and do a little bit of everything, then Rick Tocchet's squad has a chance. But I do think that Vancouver has got to show offense than they did against Nashville.
Now you got it. That felt like a silent series between Vancouver and Nashville. I might have been getting a little bit of concern
Yeah.
Vancouver at the end of that series. It was a rather low-scoring series in which it played more to Nashville's liking than Vancouver's. The Canucks are a team that like to score fast and in bunches. Nashville made them play their game, and I feel like I'm starting to get concerned for the Canucks heading into.
So we profiled it. We know we're still in the middle of our scoreless of the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Boston Bruins. Winner gets the Florida Panthers. Well, who cares who wins right now? We're going to put one of them through, Alec. Give me your predictions.
No, I think the Panthers will handle business with them. I don't think it's going to be a quick series, but I think it's going to end in 6 games.
6.
Between the Bruins and the Maple Leafs win, I just don't see them getting past Florida.
I don't think I need to step on anything else that you mentioned, but I will just throw this out there because we already know it. Sergei Bobrovsky. I already know what I'm getting with him. I don't know what the situation's going to be for Jeremy Swayman and Lena Solmark. They've been excellent, but also for Boston, you need that offensive push. That's not there right now. For Toronto, you need that offensive push. That's not there right now. You can't win games 2-1 against the Florida Panthers. So that's just where I'm at. I'm going to go at least 6 at best. And finally, again, we'll do the same thing for this next series. Whoever wins between Dallas and the Golden Knights. And this time I will make a case for both. Play against the Colorado Avalanche. And again, I know I covered a lot in between the Golden Knights and the Stars. You've done so as well. But on Alec, I won't mince words. I can't keep my eyes off of it. And now the Avalanche, I mean, they ran a mud hole stomp against the Winnipeg Jets, scoring at will. And I know you have Logan Thompson, Aiden Hill. I know you got Jake Ottinger, who are standout goaltenders.
You may want to get them to play their game, like what is mentioned about Nashville and Vancouver. Get them to play your game, but that's going to be more easier said than done because Nathan McKinnon, Kel McCarr, Mikko Rantanen, they can terrorize opponents. They've done so 3 years back, even though Vegas won 4 unanswered games against Colorado after going down 2 in a series. But it may be a flip script this time around. I'm leaning more towards Colorado if it's a Colorado-Vegas series. If it's Colorado, a coin flip.
Do you still I know we talked about this, but I just want to reiterate it again for those that are just joining us on the YouTube side or wherever. So this is going to be a game series. Even with Dallas playing 7 games, you still think it could be a coin flip?
I still think it's going to be a coin flip between Dallas may be exhausted. I just have the feeling that Jason Robertson, all that depth that Dallas has, Rope Hintz, Wyatt Johnston, everyone involved, they'll keep the Avalanche on par with them and get this to a deep series. 6 or 7 can do.
Record right now and say that the Avalanche not only punched their ticket to the Western Conference Finals, I'm going to punch their ticket to the Stanley Cup Finals. I think they're going to play Florida. I know that's easier to say now because we're getting close to the second round. I can agree with for all the talk about Aiden Hill last night. Jake Ottinger took that very tough loss. Jake Ottinger has had 3 games where he's been an absolute brick wall, and yet they've won only 2 out of 3. And I think he'd be the one that's better equipped to go ahead and go against the Avalanche. My only concern is what just happened to Connor Hellebuck, but Dallas, to your point, has a much better defensive structure. And I said this to you last night with the Vegas Golden Knights. If they survive against the Dallas Stars tomorrow, my concern for the Avalanche is this. I think they go structure together. I think Aiden Hill is going to be able to walk back in, and the Golden Knights will start to look like more of the team that we saw in last year's Cup run. So I'm going to go ahead and lean Golden Knights being the more dangerous team against the Colorado Avalanche. Find their way to the Western Conference Finals. They get to the finals. I have no faith. I'm going to say this on record. You can dispute it. We can talk about it. I have no faith that the Avalanche will lose to either the Canucks or the Oilers. I don't think the Canucks or Oilers are beating them.
Let's be honest. The second round series between the Avs and the winner of Dallas and Vegas, that's the real Western
I agree.
Conference final. Let's be honest about that. Between the Canucks and Oilers, we don't see them beating either one of the winner of the Avalanche
No.
/Dallas/Vegas series. I don't think that's happening. The winner of the Avs versus the winner of the Stars and Golden Knights, that's the real Western Conference final that we could be seeing up front. Their ticket to the Stanley Cup final, barring anything ridiculous.
Yeah, speaking of ridiculous right now, Rudy Gobert hits a jump shot off the glass. I know you're a little bit ahead of me. We're going to flip back into our featured game. I still think we're into the intermission. Minnesota's up by 9, and there's less than 2 minutes left.
Yeah. Talking about Jack Edwards retiring 2 days ago, it was his final game called as a sports broadcaster, with this game being an ABC exclusive. So the New England network or the New England feed, they're not getting the Nesson feed. So the market over there, they're not getting the local national audience.
Very interesting, because I thought it was guaranteed that every team that's in the playoffs gets their home coverage through the first round, but I guess not.
Well, that doesn't work that way in Canada. But
Gotcha.
in the U.S., we thought that would be the case.
So let's just throw this out there too, because we're almost done. I think we've done a good job through this first intermission. I'm glad that's the topic. So I have been hit and miss on the Hurricanes and Rangers. I can't even pick that one, because I feel like I said 6. I can't pick a winner because I think the two teams are too close to each other. Who advances? Let's say Florida advances, because you and I agree with that. Who advances in the Eastern Conference Finals to play Florida? And who wins to go to the Stanley Cup Finals?
You know, I can flip a coin for this one as well, and I would not be wrong with either one. I could lean the Rangers because of their power play and their defense and their even strength play, but I can also say the same thing about the Hurricanes. Though the Canes, they have a slightly better defense than the Rangers have, just by several feet or so.
Sure.
The Hurricanes can match the offense with their attack of their own, and they're getting their goaltending hot at no matter if it is Freddie Anderson or Peter Kochetkov. I may go Canes in 7, but I think Game 7 may require overtime.
Yeah, so we're both telling you right now the East is going to be, I think, a little bit spicier than the West, but that second round series, whether it's the Golden Knights or Stars against the Avs, that'll also be one to watch in the second round series, which starts tomorrow between the Hurricanes and Rangers. That'll be one to watch. That's going to kick off about 4:10 ESPN Eastern Time, and then I'll have the late game for you about 7:40 on TBS between the Stars. So we kind of gave you our outlook as far as what it's going to be. I've punched the Florida Panthers and the Avalanche in the Stanley Cup Final. What say you, Alec? What are your two teams?
I may go Florida Panthers coming out the East, and on the West, whoever wins Golden Knights, I may be leaning Stars in my opinion, but no matter what happens, I just want a great second round.
I think we're going to get a couple matchups that are going to be really good in the second round. I do think we have a potential to have a couple short series on the other side. I think we're in complete agreement. We'll see the way that it goes. I like that breakdown. I'm glad that we're able to do that across the whole intermission. Again, Ford says on the YouTube side, will Russ set in for Florida? Does time off equal Russ formation? Hey, Alec, we've seen that for a couple of these teams, especially I know the Red Wings in the past have definitely struggled with that. Do you worry about that for the Panthers?
I don't think I'm concerned for Paul Maurice. They may be thinking they're well rested, they're well prepared heading into the second round. They may have, I don't know how many practices they run in between series, but they have already pushed their series. But you may need to wonder if Paul Maurice is doing that in the meantime.
Yeah, I agree. I think his teams are going to be locked in. If there's one team I probably don't worry about as much, it's Florida, because as Alec mentioned, in between Boston, Toronto, and Florida, the three most physical teams, Florida is probably the most physical. Guys like Gustav Forsling and Reinhardt, Montour, and Barkov, and Kachuk. I mean, the list goes up and down. Good luck with that.
Good luck against any one of those guys when you're facing them. It can just hit you from anywhere, get stick checks when they can defensively.
So the overwhelming portion of the YouTube question, I said, Wall out, Samsonov in. Do the Leafs advance tonight anyway? Right now, out of 18 votes, 78% of you say yes. So go Leafs, go on the bandwagon.
I know some of the Leafs and Prince, of course, they're rooting for the Leafs tonight. You know them.
Yes, they are, and for good reason. I think it's been a good first period. It's set to take the play-by-play, my friend. It was scoreless after 20. Do you think we're going to get a goal here in the second period?
Maybe. We're just not sure who or when it's going to come from.
You take it away.
Coming into the second period, Alec, Nava, John, I hear you. This is game most come playoff time here at TD Garden, Boston, Massachusetts, at downtown. It's the Bruins and the Toronto Maple Leafs again in a game 7, the fourth time in 12 years this has happened. The Bruins won the first three. The Leafs are going to end this curse and the Bruins in a playoff series for the first time in 65 years. So we're 17 seconds deep. Immediately, the Bruins on a 3-on-2. Morgan Geeky to the left. And Sam Soda hangs on to that one on the glove side.
That's a good chance right off the rush there, as you said, with Zacha, and Samsonov's got it. That's exactly the start that you want to see. Again, we mentioned it in the first period for Boston, have a lot more offensive activity, and that's a good design right in the start of the
Bowen in game 6, he did guarantee that the Leafs will finish the job this time around. To note, the Bruins have just 2 goals in the last 8 periods. It could bode well for the Maple Leafs in this game.
Yeah, their defensive presence, we're coming off of those 2-1 wins in games 5. They had the pace of play. We'll see if they can continue to hold.
After shot block, Shattenkirk fires this back inside. Puck out behind the net, racing there first was Noah Gregg, controlling this on his back end all the way out after a hit. Wotherspoon around to the right side. Benoit the first there, trying to chop in. Benoit and David Kemp were there, and I believe Jake McCabe is going to take this one away. To the right side, Leafs trying to send this one through. David Kemp, Shattenkirk are tied with the near corner. Puck loose, now going over to the far side of the ball. Picked up now by Charlie Coyle. Local boy from Weymouth, Massachusetts, with Johnny Beecher. Beecher airmailed this one wide, and it exits out to center. Loose puck settled down by Toronto. Picked up now by Timothy Liljegren, sent inside by Domi. Bruins get it out once again. Liljegren chopped it forward. Now it's Domi one more time. His father Ty used to play with the Maple Leafs as a physical enforcer. Bruins shooting gunshot steady, Swayman. That's the one that effect any shots that Virginia's had on his former team. Jacob Russ back the other side. The Russ backhands this one in. The Bruins have swept the regular season series 4-0. However, this is game 7 as the Leafs. They got 3 back on them. Leafs Swayman signals icing and he gets his wish.
I will say this, and I know we mentioned his name a couple times, but it's continued throughout this series. I really like the play of Jake DeBrusk. I think he's pretty underrated here on the Boston Bruins.
The high-end role player for the Bruins and a key top 6 centerpiece as a goal scorer. Talking about his trade request where he's going to go. I thought Edmonton could use him at the time of this trade request. Well, it turns out Edmonton's in good hands.
Yes, they are, and I think the same for Boston as far as keeping them. You got Frederick in on the offensive draw.
And he's going to swat. Down goes one of the Bruins. The Leafs will be penalized this time around for the first time in game 7.
Yeah. Yeah, you called it. 17:51 left to go in the second. It's the first power play of the game, and it's going to put everybody at Garden at their feet. Boston's already played well. They've got a lot of shots. What's their power play unit going to look like, and is Pasta going to awaken here?
Yeah, because the Bruins, they have scored just 2 goals. They have not scored a goal on the power play on 2 opportunities. The Leafs have done a good job staying
Man, that's tough for Lilligren. He just got his stick in the wrong spot.
Yeah, he was tied up trying to take this puck away, and the Bruins are sending out their first power play, and it passed 6 for 15 in the series. A deep shot was stopped by Samsonov. I believe it was Shattenkirk who got it up. He did just 6 seconds in.
Good traffic out in front. Some more pushing and shoving again. 6 seconds as Alec benching the Boston power play. 154 left. 17:45 in the second. We're still waiting. Didn't know he was going to get the start today. He's been quite good so far.
A curious case was the insertion of Justin Brasso on this first power play, and it was an interesting decision by Jim Montgomery. Joe Edmondson gets it out. He's not lost a game 7 in his career, 5-0 in such games. The Leafs, however, have lost their last 5 game 7s. Their last win came in 2004 against the Ottawa Senators in the first round. Pasternak, he does not have a power play goal in this series. Won his last 40, chopped away from JVR, and the Leafs square on the backhand. JVR having been part of 3 previous Toronto-Boston series, or 2 previous, shorted a chance. That was turned away by Swayman. Holmberg picks it up, away from Shattenkirk, joining in Zaga, and Pasternak triple team it. Zaga picks it up, turn it right for Pasta. Now it's over to Zaga, tic-tac-toe between the two. Pasta going back over around for Brasso. Behind the net is Zaga, trying to find someone in front, shoved away by Benoit. Brasso 6-0 for JVR at the near side of the boards, away from Yorko, get from Brasso, adjusts. And this one stopped by Samsonov. Pasternak keeps it alive. Drops it back over to Zaga, retreats back to the half boards. Around his goes for Van Riemsdyk, around for Pasternak. Gonna control it. Van Riemsdyk over to Zaga at the right point. Across for McAvoy, the power play quarterback. Right back this goes for Zaga at their deep right point. And down low for Brasso. Brasso controlling. Back deep for Coyle, who's fresh to the bench. Brasso makes a change. Jake DeBrusk comes on for the first time on his power play. Van Riemsdyk in front. The pass blocked out by all the way back down low for Swayman at the Bruins. Oh, that was 16 on the man of edge. And the Leafs make key changes on the PK. DeBrusk to the right. Bruins had trouble getting this one up. Geeky was shut up. And the Leafs clear one more time. That should do it for this power play. Just 1 shot overall as Lilligren is back on the ice. But so is Brad Marchand, who Leafs fans despise. Marchand tied up at the far corner. Back this goes, walking along the points. Hampus Lindholm holds it. At the top of the left circle, drop pass over to Carlo. Wide open shot. This one above the net. Edmondson picked this one up, leaving this for Domi. Max Domi controlling it from center ice. Takes it up to the Bruins zone. Down he goes over the near half board. I think this will be a penalty against Charlie Coyle for tripping.
Yes, it is. Right in between the right side boards. Off the spin and turn. So now Toronto gets their opportunity. Again, the most dangerous portion for Boston in their power play was almost a catastrophic misplay by Jeremy Swayman behind the net.
That was almost disaster for Jeremy Swayman, with the Leafs looking more dangerous on the penalty kill than they've done on the power play in this series. Officials saw the cross check from Coyle immediately. That's going to be sending the Leafs to the power play, which they've gone 1 for 20 this series.
Yeah, again, they're below 5% on that. They really need a goal here. And that was right off the back turn from Domi. Easy call.
Matthews stopped on the one-timer. Swayman stops the rebound immediately. Just as we're speaking of power play, immediately it's good looks. Morgan Riley setting up at the point. Right side is Matthews. Down low to the right side. Marner, pass is blocked. Tavares on the hold. DeBrusk right there with it. Morgan Riley missed the pass. And then bounced off his stick all the way back to his own zone. The Leafs man advantage 0 for the last 14. They can certainly use a goal here. Nylander dropping back all the way back for Matthews. Back in illness. We'll see how effective he is on this game. Tavares to the far corner. Shut up. Wobber's move there. Tavares on the keep. Backhand off the skate of Marchand. Running there is Nylander to keep this one alive. Not for long though as Wobber's moved on to center. Riley was waiting there. On the power play, the Leafs are 2 for 31. Back to the regular season. Nylander, high, puck, off a stick. Marchand gloves this one down. Here's the Leafs zone. He'll just fire this one wide intentionally. The Leafs will Yarko feeding it back for Mad Max. In the end zone, drop back for Tuesday. Yarko open. Swayman shuts it down. And as Yarko runs into Swayman, Hampus Lindholm seeing red.
Yep. Can't do that right now, and Hampus Lindholm's got him in a full headlock. That was a good zone entry there for Max, who continues to make an impact in this series. And also some good looks for Austin Matthews on the power play.
And not to mention about Mitch Marner's intended pass for John Tavares, in which he almost backhanded this one inside. But right off the outstretched left pad of Jeremy Swayman, did he just ready to field to shut down Tavares?
Good defense for Brandon Carlo as well with the stick, might have saved a goal.
Yeah, might have. Considering that the Leafs were so close to second power play goal this series, which they badly need one.
So we're going to get a defensive zone draw here. Domi has been excellent in this series.
So is Kyle Yarko, who is turned away, and the Bruins cleared this one out again. Yarko got the shot away. Sanzona will just leave this behind for Jake McKay, who's acquired last year's trade deadline from the Chicago Blackhawks. Max Domi starts to rush, skating up for the far side. On the left side is Bertuzzi. Both of them sign on one-year deals. So imagine how Brad Treliving is going to do this offseason, getting it back home. McKay for a screen. Swayman shut it down. It's over the far side. Frederick tried to clear. Yarko got the hold. Second on the man advantage. Nice. Dropping it back all the way for McKay. Bertuzzi fires it wide. The rebound loose available. Once again behind the net. Is Yarko get tight? Another shot flutters wide. 5-on-5 now is nice. Holds on to it in the near corner. McKay back across for Morgan Riley. Bertuzzi one-timer. Swayman there. Puck is still loose. Swayman can't hang on to it. All the way out. I think they iced this puck. They have.
Yeah, they're not going to care, Alec, and it's a good call by you because there was all sorts of pressure there from the Leafs. And if it wasn't for the composure of Jeremy Swayman, I think they already score here. I mean, you look at his positioning, needs to be, he's unflappable in the crease, doesn't move a whole heck of a lot. And there was also a cross-check cleanup in front of the net because Toronto was trying to obscure his vision.
Yeah, I'm nervous as Patrice Bergeron watching this game.
Absolutely, he's feeling it too.
Waving those towels along with the rest of the bench. Charlie the face-off opposite what lead is Austin Matthews. And both start signaling on the face-off. We'll have a do-over between these two. Matthews out there on the ice. Marner, that's their big future, dating back to 2017. By Coyle, McAvoy can't clear, is held in at the defensive line. Bruins trying to clear this one out once again. Just held in by Deputy Lundgren. Bruins tried this one more time. Third time is a jar. Riley back up with it, sent inside. Collected by Walker's at the goal line, so the icing is waved up. Walker's moved down for the line. The Leafs back up with this. And the Leafs fired this one around for the boards. Marner did the corner. Some pushing and shoving right around. Matthews almost took this one away. Back to the left point. Riley around for Lundgren. Lundgren just threw this one around. Neal to recollecting. Frederick Louis is spun around by. Walker's through, picking up this loose puck away from no man's land. Down deep, right by the Leafs blue line. Toronto trying to find Lundgren and does. From the near side, sent this one down deep. Past Noah Gregor. He'll be picked up by Hampus Lindholm. However, there was an icing. It was a pass that missed Gregor's stick.
Yeah, he might have missed that pass there, but overall, about 8 minutes into this second period, I got to say, there was a good pushback from the Bruins in the first 20. Right now, I got to give the edge to the Leafs. They've looked good so far in this second.
Yeah, we have not seen a game that has went scoreless into the late stages ever since, well, last night, Canucks and Predators, no goal was scored until the 58-21 mark by Pius Suter.
Yeah, Pius Suter of all of them to score a goal, and then an empty netter for Stone. I mean, you had 3 goals, and we laughed about it. 3 goals in the spot of 2 games last night, and we never would have thought that.
Yeah, as we're going to break, it seems right now. So Nashville fans may be seeing deja vu in the sense that they, A, lost one game where they saw the first goal go in very late in the regulation, and B, lose when they allowed just 12 shots from the opponent.
Yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow. And then, not to mention, you lose with the empty net pool. If that doesn't happen and Nashville holds on, maybe Nashville would have advanced to the second round.
Yeah, well, if there's a potential game seven in a hypothetical situation, but key word is hypothetical. Those events happen, and the game four loss arguably is one that you'll take some time recovering from. But it's not going to be easy. But given that the two events that I described panned out for the second time, the only other time that which I remember seeing this, you have to think of final.
Yeah, and again, I would at least say this. And for Andrew Burnett and Barry Trotz and everybody else for Nashville, they're usually competitive. They always most season. I think that franchise is in good hands, and I continually think that they're going to do some damage going forward in that organization. I like their players.
Yeah, Philip Forsberg, Ryan O'Reilly, and extending their competitive window all throughout. Plus, with their young and youngish guys with Tommy Novak, Luke Evangelista, Sir Stasny, as we've seen them get reps in postseason play. We also saw Cody Glass have a career revival in Nashville.
Good to see because I remember he was one of the top 10 picks there for the Vegas Golden Knights when they moved on him very quickly.
And he's more of an offensive player, but it's nice having. We're going to go back at center ice for this face-off. David Pastrnak, Jesper Boquist. That's something you don't see often. The Leafs take control to draw. Logan says past the red line, bouncing up to Swayman. Will immediately play out for Watersburg, was immediately shoved away. And the Bruins get this one down for the ice. Foot race. Emerson picks it up as his own zone. Right between the goal line. And, this might have been a bad turnover, but no. Just out in by Toronto. Noah Gregor gets bodied towards the wall. Edmondson. This long stretch pass, not there. Boston back the other way, despite it hopped over Paparo's stick, and it did. One face off at Jeremy Swaymanson.
So now we'll see if this play starts to get a little bit more of a stick in the mud. Again, Boston had a good push in that first. They had a heavy advantage in the shots on goal. Toronto answered for about the first 8 minutes. Now I think we might get into a malaise here for the next 3 or 4, and then we'll see which one of these teams gets the pressure. Going back in from this break, this first goal could end up being the game winner or the most important.
Yeah, maybe the most important, and that was almost the case for William Nylander as he missed it entirely. He had a wide open at the far side, but missed Jeremy Swayman. Puck lifted out, icing waved off as the Bruins win the foot race, and Matthews goes around. He has Holmberg with him. Boston's Holmberg loses this foot race to Charlie McAvoy. He knocked away twice. Matthews shoved towards the wall. Holmberg right there with him. Holmberg trying to keep this one inside. Ferocious puck out towards the boards. From near to far this goes. In control Toronto is Youngcrook on the hold. Pass Matthews. Lori trying to get him. First time I've said his name. First NHL player to reside from the state of Louisiana. Matthews across. Benoit setting up. And up front, John Tavares getting held down. Tavares still on his feet. Lori punches this puck off a stick. Trying to clear. Holmberg runs to this puck. Brasso trying to knock this one away and does. Out the center. And once again, Saber. Jake McCabe across the red line. Fired around the far boards. It goes to the near side. Lori was the first hitter, rolling around for the top of the boards. Toronto Kings. Right by sticking across for Lori. Spent last season playing college hockey with the Ohio State Buckeyes. Pastrnak inside. From behind by Matt Nyes on a stick. Legal play. Pastrnak. Good sticking away by Toronto. We have a whistle go with 9:54. I'm not sure there's a. Maybe there is one.
Maybe something after that Pastrnak dance. I mean, he was trying to get around 3 different himself, and the crowd's happy. We're going to get a power play for Boston.
Yeah, it's a hooking penalty, so the Bruins are back in a man advantage. Something they've been comfortable with in the series, but with the fewer power play chances they had, the less comfortable they've looked. That's been their bread and butter against this Toronto defense.
Yeah, and honestly, again, I mentioned in the last power play, somebody has to wake up here for the Bruins. Looks like we're going to be taking another break. Pasternak looks like he gets hit right on the right side of the hand and then held by McCabe and Riley and Labushkin. So, yeah, there's a penalty there, and Boston will go to the man advantage when we come back.
Labushkin was being the one called for the hooking penalty. He's going to spend 2 minutes in the sin bin, and we do have our final result from the Timberwolves Nuggets game. It's the T-Wolves 106-99, led by the 43 points from Anthony Edwards.
Exactly. I'm glad you said it that way because I agree with you. In a sense, in between Jordan or Kobe or anything else, that's Anthony Edwards' version, no doubt.
The present day Michael Jordan with the way that he trash talks his opponents. Of course, he saw that trash talk that he directed towards Kevin Durant. He's feeling it. KD, and idolized, he smiles on that as being the recipient of the trash talk.
You know what I like, Alec? I like the players that trash talk and can actually back it up. I don't like the players like Pat Beverly who do it and can't back it up. That's what really grinds my gears.
You want to have the trash talkers that can actually back this one up. The Jordans, the Kobes, the LeBrons of this world.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he reminds me of. And again, I'm glad you said it that way. I'm going to look at this box score right now. 43 on 17 of 29, and he played 42 minutes. That's spectacular.
Already is putting himself in a position where he can be considered for top 10 player status.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy considering that way that lineup's constructed when you have Gobert and Cat, but Anthony Edwards, he's the best player on the team to me.
Yeah, that is the way that we see it. Based off his wall by the Bruins as we're back in this game, this might have been played by high stick. No, they're going to say it was not played at high stick. It was rolled right by the Bruins, who was trying to stick this one down up high. It was above shoulder level. Jeremy Swayman will leave this one behind for Charlie McAvoy. We're not have that memory, but the Bruins want to recreate it here. Take the puck behind it. Loose puck swept away from the Bruins. Washington again. Pasternak one-timer. Sam Stoner saw it all the way, saying, no, you're not getting by from Ovechkin's office.
Yep, it was all alone near that left dot. You can't have that as players were trying to scramble toward the net. Pasternak's really first good chance in a while. And as you mentioned, great stuff for Samsonov near that left post. Able to slide all the way.
He took that towards the chest. I know Pasternak wants to have the open one-timer look. It looked like a little too far on the pass. They get another face-off at the left side. Saka and Cali Yarncroke, and Saka's tossed out. I think Brad Marchand is going to take his place.
He's someone that can still take
And this time he loses it. Ilya Labushkin shoved away by Pasternak. Benoit's up there with the rust as well. Battle for this loose puck. They're all jamming away at no man's land. The rust still in trouble. Marchand joining the jam. So is Holmberg. Poked away. Now he's not got McAvoy fakes it. Still fakes it. And his pass intercepted. Nice read lane on Cali Yarncroke's part to stick this one down all the way. And the Bruins have to reset. McAvoy looking to drop this one back. Does. Up for Charlie Coyle. Once again, a drop pass over to for Marchand. Connor Dorby on the break. He's all alone. And a save by Jeremy Swayman to stop this shorthanded chance. This one played out the head. Connor Dorr stick this one down for the wing. And yes, indeed, the easiest hand pass that we saw.
I'm going to say this right now. We already know it. And I only think of Jeremy Swayman over the last couple of years, who's grown himself as a candidate. I know I didn't have Dewar on the bingo card, but every single save that he's made right now, he's looked poised, content. He knows exactly where to be. He's going to make a lot of money in the offseason.
No matter what his offer sheet or staying with the Bruins, he's going to definitely get himself a pay raise. But what a nice play by Cali Yarncroke to find the open Connor Dewar, who was in all alone. But Jeremy Swayman saw that Dewar was going to go 5-0. Used his stick to shut that one down. Smart play by Swayman. Leads with another defensive zone draw. McCabe aside for Marner. 27. Marner was just waiting for the Bruins attackers to approach him so that he could just distance. Just playing with them this entire time. Shattenkirk up for Coyle, off the handle, poked away. He picks it back up, and off for Brazo. Brazo's taking it for Coyle. Brazo loose. Coyle still with this. Back to the point here, Shattenkirk walking along. Brazo for the far side. Van Riemsdyk down low. McKay was on his face. Shattenkirk aside for Coyle. Charlie Coyle for the left circle. Breathing his way in. Pop there. David Kemp down to the distance. And down for the lane. Another breakaway. Matt Nice tied up from behind and goes crashing towards the net and knocked it loose.
Wow, full flip into the net. Hopefully Matthew not okay, but now as he gets stick taps from Swayman, he should be good. You got to watch out because you called it. Toronto a couple times on the break, they're leaking out, and Boston almost got caught.
Oh, they almost got caught again. Let's say that because that's not one but two breakaways that they gave up. Not sure if they're going to give Nice a penalty shot or if it's going to be a 2-minute power play for Trippy.
And we're still waiting on that right now. And again, Nyes, Shattenkirk's there. Nyes just ran out of room, and thank goodness he's okay. Full speed into that net cam. That was a big collision.
That it was initiated by Shattenkirk. We're not sure what this call is going to be because we imagine they're not going to give the Leafs either a power play or a penalty shot. I think Shattenkirk may have got a stick into the puck and incidentally just tangled up Nice. Jeremy Littleton on the keep. Moves puck and goes out all the way past the point. Riley going back for this. Shot totals 19-14 Toronto. Puck bounced off a skate. Back this loose puck as Matthews brought it forward offside against the Leafs as the pass was intended for Domi.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that we just continue to play on. 7:17 left to go in the second. We're still waiting for the game's first goal. Toronto 19-14 on the shot board, and this winner of Game 7 gets Florida on Monday. Again, there shouldn't be a countdown. The Magic and the Cavs, that series, it's won by every home game team there, so we'll see what happens for Cleveland at home if they can continue to just win the series.
Yeah, even more interesting in Game 6 is that Donovan Mitchell has scored every fourth quarter point for the Cavaliers, all 18 of them. Morgan Geeky sweeps this one away. Pablo Saka can't clear this one out. Ilya Labush goes on base. Who's got it front? Nylander! Loose puck travels over to the near corner of the Bruins. We're rushing back to from Willie Nee. Hampus Lindholm away from Nylander as Nylander falls. Stumbles, gets back on his feet. He's going to go up for change. Lindholm enters onto the zone, just casually straying his way in through the near corner. Puck behind the net. Swept away several times. Nice back on the ice. Geeky with the advantage. Far corner. Set up pass for Pasternak. He could have handled it. Was well right by him. Out of his right. Back in his own zone. As Saka's back on the bench shows Pasternak. Riley moved this one away from Marchand, who's been a thorn on the lead side. Back behind it as DeBrock tried to beat this one out front. On the far corner, all the way out for McAvoy to the right point. McAvoy's kept this one in. Doyle moved around. Can't get this one to go as Domi shoved it away, but Lori on the keep. Loose out in front. Marchand can't tap it home. He has control now. Turnaround shot was blocked. Back out the point. McAvoy. Left side is Lori. Takes it. This one whistled wide. Might have been blocked. And McAvoy will hustle to this puck at his own end. Taking this one up at the far corner. Away from Bertuzzi. Former Bruin. That was for the final quarter of last season. Marchand spent 9:50 of ice time for this game. Brazil looks out in front. And the Leafs did a good job defending that as they sweep it up the center. Lindholm now on the entry for the left side. Around for the boards, recollected by Toronto. Back behind that is Marno, who's just waiting there to absorb contact. Benoit for the far side. Just across the red line, Suego slowed this one down in control. Moves it over to the far side. Toronto trying to keep this one back behind the net. Battle near side, at Simmons' side. Evanson there, loose puck now picked up by Toronto's Holmberg just gets it out after Frederick shoved him. Frederick on the return feed, stick lift there, and that made life easier for Ilya Samsonov to control it as Frederick got a soft shot right on goal with 5:02 remaining, second period.
I know 90 seconds there for Willie Nylander, but as you said, that pass out in front, If he'd have to recollect it off of his backhand from a sick feed from Tavares, he probably scores there. That gave Swayman just enough time to recover, and then Nylander gets cross-checked right after that. Welcome to Game 7.
This is Game 7 in full action. You want to know the last time that a game ended, Game 7 ended scoreless heading into overtime? Look, 25 years ago, when the St. Louis Blues defeated the then Arizona Coyotes 1-0.
Man, oh man. Again, those 90s versions of the St. Louis Blues teams were pretty good. I do remember back when I was a kid, before the Steve Eisman slap shot and all that, you had that, so that doesn't surprise me.
Back of defensive hockey, how it was played back then, and high-scoring games like back in the 80s, in the era of Gretzky, Mark Messier, Mario Lemieux, Jaromir Jagr.
Some very happen to believe that if it wasn't for some of those injuries and the cancer and some other stuff like that, we could have the discussion about Mario Lemieux and Wayne Gretzky, and maybe even Lemieux being a step up above Gretzky, which is crazy to say, but that's how good he was.
He's been so dominant for his NHL career. If we think of 80s hockey, we can throw other names around. Look at the Islanders dynasty, Al Arbour, Mike Bossy, Bob Nystrom.
Yeah, Bossy just got his career cut down short a little bit. Now we're getting some black and white footage of Game 7s between Boston and the Maple Leafs. That was the 1959 semifinals.
Yeah, the last time the Leafs beat the Bruins in a best-of-7 series, that was 1959, 65 years ago. But these two teams, they have demons to slay, business to take care of. It's scoreless, but you can imagine that someone here will score the game's first goal right about now. We're nearly 35 minutes deep, and we don't have that.
Hey, we might get a repeat of yesterday, either for Piers Suter or Noah Hanneman.
Who knows? Because yesterday we had some of the best goaltending you have to offer. Noah Gregor, 2-on-1, pass the goal down in front. Jeremy available, right behind that. Connor Dorr, oversight for McCabe, who keeps it alive. David Kent behind that. Hand up over Benoit. Butter is right behind that. Benoit all in the far corner. Looking for options right around. Dorr jumps on it. So did Waterspoon. David Kemp tried to get it. Can't do so now. The puck is available. Comes out for Maroon, who clears this one down to center ice. Benoit moves it over Noah Gregor. Can't control it. Maroon moves in with it. Maroon shoved away. Boquist helps him. Now Boquist is shoved. And Benoit gets it out. Up to center for Domi. Mad Max. Fake out Johnny Beecher and now goes in on the entry. He waits for help. Gets someone. Now the drop pass. This quick shot. Up high and over the net. Labushkin on the keep. Right by Beecher and down Bertuzzi. On the inside is Martyr behind that. Aim for Bertuzzi was swept away by Coyle. Beecher there. Coyle there. Domi there. Poke backward for Labushkin. Riley sets up Martyr back for Morgan Riley. Quick shot was turned away by Swayman. Excellent goaltending for both teams right now. Bertuzzi sitting his back was over to Martyr when he left front. That was wide. Labushkin rushes in to keep his puck alive. Good supply for the Leafs. Behind the net, Bertuzzi holding it. Labushkin does so as well. At the opposite point, waiting. Now goes down low, around for Domi. Back for Riley, center point. Matthews is not out there. It's Toby Logan instead. Riley, left circle. What does he do? Headshot puck. He's tied by Carlo. Swipes out Carlo, and we stay 5-on-5. Beecher sends one up in front. No partial break for the Bruins, but in comes Jake DeBrusk. Around Timothy Lundgren. He's going to wait for options. Gets going Mason Lohrei. He fires one. Stopped by Samsonov. And the Leafs sweep the rebound away. Lohrei on the keep. Geeky got the deflection. Samsonov stopped it. And the Leafs gets one down. Rush for the puck. McAvoy's there at his own defensive end. 2:50 to play. It was been scoreless. Game 7. Pasternak near side. Wide open man is Geeky. Osenda goes over to McAvoy. Twist controlling at the point. His long shot was blocked and it goes up high onto the safety netting. Clock stops with 2:40 to
say it now, as we're deep into this. We're going to be going into the third period shortly, 2:40 left. This game has given me all the intrigue, and I don't care if there aren't any goals scored right now. Mason Lohrei, he had a chance near the right side of the bar that just hits top over Morgan Riley off the glove. of Samsonov, and then Jeremy Swayman on the other end has been terrific. But Samsonov, he was the story. He is the story now, and a big reason why it's still scoreless.
We've been paying attention to him for a very good reason. You said that he was going to be leaky. I thought he was going to get that nice mental reset heading into that. Well, he did, getting that nice mental reset here in Game 7 has turned away every Bruins shot. The Leafs will want to keep this momentum upwards against stable goaltending. Here's Holmberg from the near side, chips it forward. Matthews doesn't touch it. He controls it now. Got it poked away for him by Brad Marchand. Toronto away from Brazo. Holmberg can control. McAvoy can. He enters with Marchand and Brazo. Deep shot. Flutters wide the net. Holmberg now picks it up. Sweeps it all the way down to Boston set. Lori, the rookie from Ohio State University, moves up for the ice. Controls on his backhand around Cat. Lori. Oh, he puts one at least on the plaster, but goes down towards the far side of the boards. Battle for his loose puck. It's out in front. Toronto clears. 1:55 to go. We still are in search of this game's first goal, but we have had excellent goaltending in these last 3 playoff games in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Boston on the key. Sakov backhands this one around. Pasternak moves around Kemp. Pasternak right in front. Samsonov shut it down. Behind the net, Kemp on the control. 2 players fall down simultaneously like bowling pins as they go down towards the Boston end place. Lindholm tied up by 4. Carlo now picks up this loose puck. On the far side. Can't control it. It's Louisville. Feet up in front. The puck up front. Carter out of play. And a lucky fan that's who is catching this and going to take this one home, maybe around Boston or Toronto.
Hey, that's pretty cool, right in the mix of everything else on the road game. I like that effort that we just saw from number 88, David Pasternak. It's right for Samsonov nonetheless.
Right, Patty just shut that door right on Pasta, who's trying to start this pasta party here in Boston in front of this sold-out crowd of 17.5K plus. Don't be draws. The Bruins taking it. Roberts going around. Up front is Beecher. Johnny Beecher opposite to Empty Louisville. Floyd can tie him up. Beecher trying to down low, and DeBrusque is shoved away by Edmondson. Stays with this puck. DeBrusque holding on to around the near boards. Down low, there was this Coyle. Was shoved away several times. Down he goes. Louisville out him. Coyle and Louisville down simultaneously as this is a puck battle with no man's land. 47 go, and the play is stopped dead. The puck did not move a single inch.
Yeah, that's what the ref can do, but doesn't move enough. 48 seconds left to go in this second. Shots on goal are 20-17. Boston trying to get back in on that board. Sunday, 4 Eastern, is the Canes and Rangers, round 2, game 1. And then game 7.
In the game 7's on these are the main events.
Yes, it is. And again, when we get to the second intermission, I think I'm going to have a critical question for you as far as regarding Boston. 51% of Game 7s are decided by 1 goal. That's where we look at right now.
That included 2013 when these 2 teams faced off against each other. Game 5 of the series marked the first time these 2 have played a playoff overtime game against one another since that very game that Bruins fans want to remember forever. This puck goes out of play, but the Bruins, they were in this exact scenario last year, playoff overtime, Game 7, and Carter Verhaeghe put the dagger on their throats.
He puts a lot of playoff daggers in, doesn't he?
5 goals in what took less and much less games than what these Carter players getting to the top 3 in playoff overtime goals. Here is Pavel Zacha on the entry, 30 to go. Do we see a late goal, which could set up a very interesting third period? We did get that for William Nylander. This is ice. Evans went on the first there. But game 6, Nylander had the late goal in game 6 with the final minutes in the second.
To me, when I'm looking at the core 4, and this is no disrespect to Austin Matthews, but Nylander would be the second guy that I would look to as far as being critical and trying to get a game winner and finishing it off this game.
Always is a fun player to watch. Whether it be Donnie at 29 or the 88, in which he made the switch to 88 because he wants to pay tribute to his idol, Eric Lindros. The 29 being a famous reversal of his father's iconic number 92, Michael. Chip down deep, believe it's John Tavares. Full race won by Emphas Lindholm. 10 seconds to go from what we can conclude as a scoreless 2 periods. And the Bruins, they may not be planning on getting one more shot off. And as this pass was too far for Charlie Coyle, well, as we have icing, what do the Leafs do?
I think, I'm not saying they're going to do it, but if you're going to pull the goaltender here, win a draw, get a chance, Alec, go crazy.
For me, guy on Ilya Samsonov to see if he's going to get fooled or anything. But that's why you stay in the game on your seat and every second of it. There are some fans leaving to get second intermission concessions. We have the Leafs set up towards the attacking side, the Bruins counter on the defensive side with all their guys there. Tie up on the draw. There was a loose stick at it. Jeremy Swayman stops it. And so we still are scoreless.
Well, scoreless after 40, we were scoreless after 20, and honestly, the goaltenders, you get a big-time golf clap from me for Ilya Samsonov and Jeremy Swayman. Excellent. 11 Game 7, 195th Game 7 in the history of the NHL. We're going to be set up for an instant classic. That's the way it's going to go.
That's what you can picture that way. And I live here right there. PK Subban is holding Game 7 shirts with Steve Levy, Mark Messier, and Theo Kruger. They're all broke for Game 7. Subban himself had one of the more iconic quotes heading into Game 7 10 years ago when his Montreal Canadiens faced the Boston Bruins. He can't wait to feel the energy from the Boston crowd, and he can't wait to shut it down.
That's the kind of stuff that you live for when you're a player. That's a great quote, and that's the exact mentality that you have to have. Jeremy Swayman, 22 out of 22. Ilya Samsonov, 18 out of 18. Again, there's been some near misses here and there. There's some chances that Swayman and Tidy, I mean, he got the knives went flying. There were some chances. I will say that Boston, good start in the first period. I think Toronto has answered that a little bit. I think the sand in the hourglass and the pendulum, Alec, it swings even for both of these teams. And honestly, I couldn't happen in the last 20 minutes. This is a pretty even game across the board.
This feels like a well-played hockey match. That's basically a soccer match between them. Now we can talk about the FIFA World Cup that's happening in 2 years and all of that, but it feels like a soccer match with how low it's been. You normally see these types of low-scoring games in soccer, primarily in Premier League, Champions League. It's basically like a Liverpool versus Arsenal type of matchup. We're seeing this right now.
Yeah, that's what we are seeing. Again, if you talk about Game 6, again, a buzzer beater at the last second in which Joseph Woll injured. Honestly, it could have been 2-0, 2-1, 2-0 essentially, and now 0-0 after 2 periods. About how it might fare against the Florida Panthers and then licking their chops. Look, the Boston Bruins are up against it in the cap, and I know Toronto has played well, but I'm looking at this right now, especially with Jim Montgomery's comments from a couple days ago. It certainly looks like Boston needs some secondary goal-scoring help, does it not?
And you can't just rely on their wingers forever. You have to have your centers involved. That's why you mentioned Coyle and Saka at the pregame.
I think that's something alongside Swayman, which is going to be difficult to do because that's the first thing that Cam Neely and company have to figure out is get him signed. But who the heck do they turn to in the offseason more goals? Because as you said, between Coyle and Zaka, we mentioned that, Steven Stamkos is really an impossibility for them, but it really does feel like the way Boston's playing right now, they need another game breaker to help out Pasternak.
Or maybe just bring Marchand out of Bergeron out of retirement. This is getting ridiculous. Like the lack of goal scoring. Yeah, Marchand has 8 points in 6 games, but you need a bigger punch. That's why you mentioned about Stamkos and the possibility of it being in there, but that's a pipe dream for the Bruins.
Right, it is. And no, I agree. I think we joke about it too with Patrice Bergeron, but you better get back and get them for those low deals because honestly, a lot of the guys that play for the Bruins right now, they kind of do it the way that the Patriots did when Tom Brady didn't sign for a lot of money. These guys take less in order to try to win. They're going to have someone take less to help them try to score goals. Because if I'm Toronto, typical playoff game in the sense of I'm not worried about the core four. One of them might get traded and this and that, but regular season team that they are that scores a ton of goals. If Austin Matthews was healthy right now, the way that this was going, and I know I'm making excuses, but if they were healthy right now, this was rolling, I would think Toronto could take care of Boston. Hell, I picked Toronto to win in 7 games. I didn't expect it to end up this way, but it could turn out to be true. But I'm just really shocked that the fact that Boston's offense is just kind of shut off.
And that's the surprising part, that Boston's offense has just. Toronto isn't really faring any better offensively in the games that they've won, but you win the games that you have to win, whether it be by goaltending or by clutch plays from William Nylander. Now, Andrew just texted me about who you have for your goal scorer.
Oh, so we're picking winners already here. So I'm going to let you go first, Alec.
Yeah, I stuck with Max Domi for Toronto, and I'm sticking to that pick. Brad Marchand, if there's anyone for Boston who's going to score, it might as well be him.
Man, this is going to be tough for Boston. Honestly, I might even just say Jeremy Swayman. I'm not even kidding the way that this is going. Let me just rub salt in the wound. I'm going to go ahead Trent Frederick. He's got some greasy goals. Maybe there's a turnover. I'll throw Frederick, and I'll take another one off the board here. Give me depth.
So we're going with the depth players.
I'm going depth.
Give me a hero here in Game 7.
Somebody's got to be. And again, I was almost joking about Jeremy Swayman, but almost not really because I'm waiting for a goal here.
I mean, goalie goals, especially in the playoffs, are sweet. We haven't seen one of the Stanley Cup playoff goalie goals with Martin Brodeur.
What's going to happen? And I know he's injured, but do you think Matthew Poitras, if he would have really ignited this offense? I'm just throwing it out there. What's your thoughts?
Maybe he could. So, but for that, I think Johnny Beach will be centering this fourth line. Sure. I don't know who to take off the lineup if you are the Boston Bruins, but it has to be either one of Beecher or Jesper Boquist on the fourth line. You insert a healthy Matt Poitras on this lineup. He's been outstanding rookie for the Bruins,
yes,
and deservedly so with his two-way play. We don't know how he's going to long term, but he looked very promising in the time he's there.
And let me look at someone else on the Maple Leaf squad as I'm looking through the names. You mentioned Nick Robertson in the first period. That was a good one. We got our game winners locked in. But I'm looking at some other unsung heroes. I mean, we could mention Jake McCabe. He's had a good series, I thought. And honestly, even Joel Edmondson. Maybe a couple other ones to look at. But honestly, Alec and I, we mentioned it kind of feels like grasping at straws as far as who's going to get the game winner here, but we don't mind it. I mean, we were treated to a couple excellent games over the last couple days, and this Game 7 so far, even though it's scoreless.
So far, it's a defensive masterclass and a goaltending masterclass on both ends. So if we were to see this game go deep into overtime, and both teams have to get players from their taxi squads dressed up. Ryan Reeves is a healthy scratch. Austin Matthews is initially listed as he's in the lineup. Nick Robertson could be in use. TJ Brody, Connor Timmins. Heck, how about Mark Giordano? He had a tip in front from Alex Kerfoot in last year's Game 4 in the first round.
Yeah, I do think you make the good point there for the taxi squad as far as the Leafs. Again, I'm looking at some comments, and he said that Toronto Devils hockey in the 90s were being way more disciplined. Honestly, the crazy part to me when I look at it, I say, hey, if you told me that the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to win 2-1 games and be sound defensively, and then you told me that the Boston Bruins offense and Pastrnak and guys like Coyle and Zacha would be completely shut down, I would have thought you were crazy.
Yeah, but that's as I'm voting right now. Toronto's not really a team that's known for defense, but here we are playing excellent defensive hockey. A complete 200 days of Matt Sundin when he was with the Maple Leafs, when Eddie Belfour was on the team. You think back to when Alexander Mogilny helped set up Sundin on that game-tying goal in Game 6 against Carolina.
Yeah, there's a lot to think about. Again, you got about Belfour, you talk about, and now you have Ilya Samsonov in this Game 7 last year. He's not been that good this year as far as regular season, getting sent down a little bit, bringing in Martin Jones. Was not expected to start today, but Samsonov, you mentioned this from the onset. I give you full marks. You thought the rest and everything else would do him well, and he's looked quite good.
And so far, he's looked very comfortable. And that was before with the San Jose Sharks. And for his play there, back with the Sharks, especially Game 7 against the Vegas Golden Knights, it wasn't him before of the power play for the 5 minutes that the Sharks have picked up. 2 goals from Logan Couture there, 1 from but all 4 of his points on that 5-minute power play.
So let me just say this. We picked some of the game winners. We gave some of our thoughts. We got the reset there for it's, and they lost the Timberwolves, but I'm going to lean it right back here to the Maple Leafs and the Bruins. Alec, in all honesty, do you think we're going to get a goal in this third period?
Well, there's no guarantee with the way this game is played, but I think someone's going to break the deadlock late, and then I feel that it's going to be 1-1. A 1-1 game, potentially overtime in the mix, which I think I see happening. Both teams have played.
All right, we'll see. I'm going to go ahead and sit on it for a little bit more. I said after the first period I would give a prediction. Honestly, the first period and the second period have kind of blended together as this game's still scoreless. If I want to go ahead and just say I'm going to lean on my prediction and taking the Maple Leafs in 7, I can do that. I just don't have confidence either way that one of these teams is going to score right now. I mean, you look at the one thing I will say that I keep squad. When they were able to lean in that middle of the second period and get a couple potential breaks, Matthew Nyes, Willie Nylander in the mix, they were able to cheat a little bit. You'd have to imagine that Jim Montgomery is talking about that in the second intermission. And on the other side, as you mentioned with David Pastrnak, there was a couple chances near the left side red line, maybe able to get around the defensive camp and stuff it in. Maybe some chances on the play that I would hope if you're one of these two teams, you don't commit a needless infraction, because if Alec's talking about a 1-1 game, it might be a power play goal.
It might. Maybe Boston would get that power play goal. Who knows if Toronto is going to get it? We just don't know, and there's no guarantee. There is no guarantee that Toronto is going to score on the power play, given how sluggish they've been on the man advantage in the series. In fact, Boston's had their number when the Leafs are on the power play all throughout the regular season and the playoffs. But the Leafs, they're finding ways to work on 5-on-5.
Yeah, they are. And again, that power play that you talked about, it's already won for about 22. So for the Leafs, they're below 5%. I mean, Alec, again, just one finish. You could put you and I on the power play right now and give us about 20 chances. I bet we get 2 goals.
Yeah. How about setting up an Ovechkin's office?
If you could just let us shoot shots near the line point, that's probably a good chance. They're showing Austin Matthews right now. It's a good time to get the reset as we got about 5.5 minutes here. 1 shot on goal, 8 of 12 on the draws, 14 shifts, about 10:50 of ice time. I said about 15 minutes plus. It looks like that might pan out that way through 3 periods. But if it goes into OT and you're monitoring his minutes, you don't want to be down forward. So Austin Matthews is going to have to press a little bit if this goes into OT. He might be closer to 20.
It might be closer to 20 if it is overtime in the mix. Maybe 15. We're leaning towards that direction. 16 is doable with the way that Sheldon Keefe has been using him. They've been bumping him up and down on the lineup, primarily using him on a third line role with Pontus Holmberg and Noah Gregor, who have not spent as much ice time together 5-on-5 for the regular season. But sometimes you see Matthews up with Tyler Bertuzzi and Mitch Marner. But I think if you want to use Matthews, you may want to put him up where he has been most comfortable with Bertuzzi and Max Domi.
That's interesting, and I don't think you're wrong. I'm only saying that because if he's not 100% and he can't hunt pucks the way that Marner and Bertuzzi and Domi's line have done through games 5 and 6, maybe that is something on. So I'm just throwing that out there if they decide to do that once this game continues to trug along, because we'll see if Sheldon Keefe or Jim Montgomery is desperate to get that first goal or if they're going to continue to wait on a mistake. I'm looking at time on ice right now. And again, we know defenseman's going to lead it. Hampus Lindholm at 13:51. But right now, David Pastrnak leads the forwards and everybody 14:11. But I did miss Charlie McAvoy 18:58 time on ice to lead everybody. And on the other side for the Leafs, your defensive leader is Jake McCabe. I think he does have a couple shots, 15:51 time on ice, and Morgan Riley 15:38.
You put McAvoy in a situation where he's most likely double shifted on every turn.
I
I
agree.
think that's what Jim Montgomery is going to go with, mostly on power plays and on situations where an even strength you mix him up with Hampus Lindholm, Mason Lohrei.
Yeah, you have to. You got to jumpstart that, and you got to double shift because I think Charlie McAvoy is one of those guys that are one of the best defensemen in the league. He's been that way for a while. Again, when they made the trade for Hampus Lindholm last year, he was on that first line, but they put a little grit and sandpaper there with Mason Lohrei, as you mentioned, the former Ohio State Buckeye, who I thought has asserted himself quite well. I'm just not sure where from, as we talked about. Again, Danton Heinen, he's not in the lineup. Jacob Wacko is a depth player that probably won't play. Johnny Beecher, the U of M man, he spent some time on the fourth line. Jesper Boquist, Trent Frederick, some of the unsung heroes. Brandon Carlo is another grit and sandpaper guy. Morgan Geekie, they want to get more offense from on that top line with Quell and Marchand. Anybody here, somebody score a goal.
And anyone, doesn't matter if it's Boston or Toronto, somebody has to score to break this deadlock. It's been going on for 40 minutes already. If it lasts for 6 scoreless deadlock, I feel St. Louis fans and Utah/Arizona fans may be looking at this as a first time.
Yeah, they've been through this enough times. That's a good call by you. I'm excited either way. It's game 7 here, and again, we'll have one tomorrow. We did in our session kind of go over all the series in the NHL and give our winners. Toronto and Boston, I don't care if they're going to be cannon fodder right now for Florida and have to play on Monday, but I do think, regardless as much as they're going to celebrate on a Sunday as they should, as they make that plane ride over, I think if you recharge and sleep and recharge the batteries, you better have a team meeting on that plane about jump-starting your offense, because if you can't do that against Florida, it's going to be a short series.
Yeah, you can't. Otherwise, it's over. So we look towards them. We don't know how this game is going to end because it's unpredictable for many sorts of ways on this goaltending masterclass. If Toronto wins, it's heartbreak for Boston, and then an understatement. If Boston wins, it feels like another Kendrick Lamar diss track.
Yeah, they just survived. I don't know what's going on with all that stuff with Drake and Kendrick Lamar, and I'm not going to jump into it, but let me just say this honestly. For all the stuff I saw on social media, I'm going to have to start listening to some of Kendrick's latest tracks. That beef is escalating to proportional levels.
It's not just proportional, it's bigger than rap. They have to deal with Drake's personal issues, if we're being honest.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there, so I'll take half of this third. Alec will close it. If we get to OT, we can get to that. I'll probably, if we get to OT, I'll have Alec jump on it first because that's only fair, and then I can cover the back end side so we can split it as evenly as possible. To warm up the pipes for more than 60 minutes today.
It's feeling that way. Opening faceoffs set to commence. Let's get a goal here, boys.
We need one. John Tavares now. Morgan Riley, as this is dumped into the left side red line, and now Mason Lohrei will go ahead as the Toronto favorite at a -130. Zaka sends it across. Geeky tried to make a play from his knees, but this pass gets picked off by William Nylander. 2 goals in the last night. Boston Bruins. We know that they're a defensive team and they're goaltending oriented, but that's just not going to get the job done. Charlie McAvoy, left side entry across the red. 19:25 left to go in the third. John here with you alongside Alec Navas. We'll definitely split this third. Marchand, Coyle, try to get a stick on it. And now Simon Benoit will go ahead in Toronto. 5 straight game sevens. And the Bruins are on the precipice of dropping 3-1 series leads 2 years in a row. That is a yikes on both sides. As this is now to the left side red line. Domi try to drop Marner surveying. Chance wide open for McCabe, but it bounces off his stick blade. Picked up now to the left side. Hampus Lindholm off the spin. It's Bertuzzi. Back to D now. For Edmondson. Cross Marner. Tried to stay on his feet. Sweet skate. Backhand. Set it up. Swayman saw it all the way.
Oh, Mitch Marner is almost having a how do you do moment. Crap exists here in this third period with Marner. Little dipsy doodle backhand forehand before finding the open. Joe Edmondson was all alone at the right side. Nikita Kucherov's office. Jeremy Swayman saw it, turned that one aside. We stay scoreless.
And we've seen Mitch Marner make those moves before, not just in the regular season, but in this series when he scored one of those goals on his knees off the backhand to finish it off. I mean, this guy's unreal. 3 points in this series. Steal. Now this will go back to the left side red line where we'll set it up, take it D to D and send it in. Jeremy Swayman, Ilya Samsonov, both excellent. It's still scoreless. 18:15 left to go in the third. As the puck will go all the way back to Joel. Again, the former back cross and get it back one more time off the give and go. 23 shots on goal to 18. We're still waiting for the game's first goal. Kind of feels like a mirror image we had over last night. A combined 3 goals scored in between Vancouver and Nashville and Vegas and Dallas. As this is a long now, Matthew Nyes try to skate it ahead. A couple extra defensemen enter there for Boston. As this is now near the left side, it's a bouncing puck. Swayman in the butter post, but it doesn't hit him. As this is bounced away from the referee and sent back down. 17:30 left to go in the scoreless third. Morgan Riley able to get it across now for Willie Nylander. Nylander goes offsides.
I love the hustle from Johnny Beecher trying to force Morgan Riley to hurry on the possession with Riley retrieving the loose puck right behind Samsonov's crease. As Emily Cap was talking about Samsonov, locked it out. His first career game 7. Thus far, is 18 saves and has maintained the shutout.
Yes, he is. And again, I give you full marks. You said that he was going to be locked in this game and ready to go. He's superseded all my expectations. He's not just playing his B-plus game. He's playing his A-plus game right now. So is Swayman. So somebody's got to break the deadlock. Nylander tries to get the steal. This is picked up right out in front and bounced up in the air for Pasta. And for Johnny T. Now McCabe will try to pick it up off the backhand. A jumping glove hand stop. Toronto trying to get this out of their own end. And this will be flipped back down. McAvoy, it'll be iced against the Leafs.
Oof. Oh, thank goodness we didn't fall victim to the announcer jinx that time.
Yeah, we got pretty close there for Samsonov and behind the net. Worst playoff win percentage last 40 years. Samsonov at 3.6. Yusei Saros 313. That's crazy to see Yusei Saros' name up there, but again, he was part of that Colorado sweep in the mix of it. I know he didn't get to play all the other games last couple of years, but man, oh man, he's in a tough time in the playoffs too.
Well, to be fair to him, he was injured in that Colorado sweep, so he wasn't able to at those games.
So he did miss some time with some injury, and then he's had some tough times where teams just haven't scored, as you mentioned, and on there as well, who's also been a good goalie, but not on the playoff side of it. But sometimes you're on the wrong side of history.
And sometimes that is the case. Such was the case in Game 4 with Nashville's implosion against the Canucks. The Canucks scoring 2 goals in the final 3 minutes, both from Brock Besser before Elias Lindholm ended it.
See if Coyle can win this one against Tavares. This is still in the offensive zone for Boston. They'll funnel it in deep. Pastrnak a stick on this puck. This is picked up off the backhand now. McAvoy, he makes a play between his legs. Samsonov tries to get a paw on it, but he can't glove it. But we will get a whistle now. I think the net came off this morning.
Yeah, just slightly off. That left post, it just came off by a tag, but McAvoy, I think he was double teamed by both Jake McCabe and Simon Benoit. Almost thought he was triple teamed, but looks can deceive. Matt Nyes was directly right behind McAvoy. I think he knew he was surrounded, but tried to make the play nonetheless. When you have 2 defensive defensemen right on you, usually that's not going to bode well.
Playing his day. I don't mind it there for McAvoy because if you're not getting it from David Pastrnak, somebody's got to be able to step up and make a play and be willing to do something. Charlie McAvoy hits 4 hits, 2 block shots. You just got to make sure if he goes up ahead, one of the other forwards behind you steps back for his spot. As we'll send this back behind the cage. Ilya Samsonov. It's turned over. Boston fans want a tripping penalty. They're not going to get one. So Bertuzzi just flips it in an open area for Austin Matthews. Send it toward the net, and Swayman. No problem there.
If we could get a rules analyst on this to review what that was, what was the no call, I think the Leafs are alleging that was a legal stick lift.
They're going to have to say that because we saw some hits and called in the previous game that Boston fans didn't get a power play on, and then Toronto scored on. So unless we get something completely on.
It feels that way. The officials are swallowing their whistles. That's the way that they're wanting to go with, and both teams should be content with that.
So Austin Matthews, about 11:50 of ice time, 4 hits, 2 shots. Here's an entry, and that was a good opportunity for Brasso of all people. But we get
twice. I mean, it was because of Marner's stick press, in which Brasso might have panicked on the shot to send it way wide. And all of a sudden, Samsonov it all the way out. We speak of referees. No Wes McCauley this time around for this Game 7, but there is Kelly Sutherland with Eric Verlau, Matt Pearson with Johnny Murray.
So as we mentioned, they're not going to be calling anything unless they have to right now. We're going to let the boys play here. All-important defensive zone draw. See if he can do it here for the Leafs. He'll do so. Again, he is a good shutdown pair in that bottom 6. As this will be Kirk and offsides are the Bees.
Yeah, a little too long to get that exit out as the Bruins mistimed the entry. And James Van Riemsdyk, who's been part of the Toronto Maple Leafs for 2 of those series, or 3 of them. I have to look back towards that, but I think it's 2 now that I think about it. But he's known the Leafs well. He's known the Bruins well.
Still need a hero here in Game 7. Winner is going to move on to play the Florida Panthers when they have to go back to Sunrise. Trent Frederick, he was the one that I called for the game winner. We'll see if he can do so. On the other side, I picked David Camp. I'm going here as this one's flipped in near the left side red line. Now, opportunity. Van Riemsdyk from relief as he gets pinned against the wall. See who emerges with it right now. It's Joel Edmondson. They can't clear it around the end boards, but Toronto's there. See if they can gain the blue line. They will. This will go back into Boston. About 5 minutes away from me, handing it back to Alec for the next half of this third period. Still scoreless. 20-19 on the shot board for the Maple Leafs. Now for Riley. He's got players in his face. He's still able to get this out away from Beecher and make the outstretched pass as this one stays on sides. Now Maroon try to send this one across as Johnny Beecher. We'll flip it in. Samsonov will take his time. Again, the only misplay we had behind the net was that second period in which Alec called. They got close. That was really the only time it was a careless play that got close, but there were some chances for Swayman and Samsonov that got canceled off. That's why we're still scoreless. This one flipped in now. Edmondson one more time, as this is an opportunity for Willie Nylander. The crowd's been sitting on their hands for a while. I know there are some Maple Leafs fans here in TD Garden in Boston, but been forced to sit and waiting for something to happen. Here's a race back in the defensive zone, easily won by the Leafs. Simon Benoit will get this wrapped around the circle here. Start again. Here's a good outstretched stick. Now we'll see if Zacha can find the entry. He can. He gets brushed aside. Picked up down near the left side. Zacha have to throw it up into an open area. Morgan Geeky try to give chase. And Benoit will flip this one down across. So big glove down for Pasta. Turnaround shot gets deflected. That goes way wide. This Toronto finds an entry here with Bertuzzi. He gets canceled off a couple hits. He gets dumped hard near the end wall. And Benoit, as they'll start it again, Bertuzzi is normally dishing out the punishment, not taking it like that. Sheldon Keefe's squad take a change. Here they are with Morgan Riley already back out there. Only missed one shift, and offside is the call.
I'm starting to have some shivers here. The pressure catching up. Even as a neutral hockey fan, I'm starting to feel anxious as well.
Yeah, you have to. Again, I'm kind of wondering which one of these teams Alec is going to give in here. Is anybody going to push for offense? Because we saw that in the second period, as you mentioned, with a couple breakaway attempts there for the Leafs. Third, and if you don't press right now, I'm not saying it's the right or wrong decision, but if you don't press, this might not be a game that ends till about 2 in the morning.
Oh, I'm thinking back to the 4 overtime marathon when I was over in Italy.
Yeah, I mean, right now, that was between the Panthers and the Hurricanes. We've seen a lot of those overtime games, but we're just telling you honestly, the way that these offenses have shown themselves, and credit to Swayman and credit to Samsonov, but we've not seen much goal scoring in 7 so far.
Not a lot of that.
So we're taking a commercial break. Again, I'm a few minutes away from handing it back to Alec Nava here. John and I are with you on the call right now. We'll get set to switch over. Got a lot of votes here on this YouTube side. I said Wall out, Samsonov in. Do the Leafs advance? 23 votes. 70% of you say yes. They're still going with Maple Leafs forever using that tag. Right now, you can flip a coin here and roll some dice about who is going to take this game. It's dead even still.
No, we do not have a score on those games like what we saw yesterday between the two games to a scoreless heading into the third period, and then we get late go-ahead goals from Piasuter and Hannafin. It was with you with Mark Stone, iced in Florida Golden Knights to send us to a Game 7 tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern. All games, the Rangers from 37 to 84, the Avs still active today, the Maple Leafs active today, 6 straight, the Senators active today, 1997 to the present day, the Canadiens 37 to 49, 6 straight.
I know I say this every time, and you've heard me before, but to see the avalanche power that they have really surprises me.
Yeah, especially because they won a Stanley Cup at that time frame since 2002.
So McAvoy will take a long shot. This hits the left side of the glass. 13:20 left to go in this scoreless Game 7 between Boston, still waiting for the game's first goal. Oh, if not for a buzzer beater in Game 6, it would have been a 2-0 shutout, that time for Joseph Wall. Pasta got Geeky with off the pass, makes a play between his legs, and Samsonov makes the save.
This game is absolute cinema. Pasta goes wide, gets Labushkin to make himself look like a fool with the thing that he put on him. Shifts over to the backhand, that he has no room to shoot on the forehand. Decides to go backhand, glove side towards Samsonov. Samsonov was not buying it.
At least, because we're getting another look at that Pasternak move, at least Labushkin didn't fall over.
Yeah,
because that was pretty silky there from Pasta with the mitts. 16:44 of ice time, 2 hits, 3 shots. Offensive zone draw. Are we going to get a goal here before I flip this back over the play-by-play, or is Alec going to take us home in this third? Are we going to need OT in a Game 7? That would seem very Leafs-like. Frederick, as this gets sent in. David Kemp put it around the end boards now. Boston gets the steal, and this is bounced out in front. Van Riemsdyk He'll try to make a pass and now pick back up and behind the cage as Toronto will get it onto the right side of the wall. It's still very loose. Boston trying to make something happen. JVR will shoot this short side and picked up now by Toronto. Let's get this across the blue. Now Sheldon Keefe squad, full cell changes. This gets flipped in. Boston's going to get the entry off a 1-on-4 and now sent back down here from the Leafs. It's Brad Marchand, the captaincy. Find the entry, backhand sweep move, but Coyle, way offsides.
Good job by Toronto to hold their zone on their own as they prevent some tight end chances on some juicy rebounds that were loose out in front. Connor Dewar swiped one away, and for Ford, who's having one of the least ice time averages, but playing a more defensive role, it certainly seems Sheldon Keefe is trusting him to do the dirty work, and he has responded in kind.
Yeah, I think everybody right now for the defensive effort, standing cities we talked about. But you got to like everybody's play right now on the defensive end. As now we get a whistle against the Leafs here. 12:03 left to go in this third.
As ESPN pointed out, Brad Marchand has 8 points in his series, but was held off the score sheet 6 games. There's a time for the breakout. It's right here.
I agree with you completely. And again, the counterpoint that we've already used, it can't just be the breakout. Coyle, Domi wins another one. I'd love to see what his faceoff percentage is in the playoffs. I think he's got to be in the high 80s as this one goes in the crowd. And another Leafs fan gets the puck.
If I had a nickel for every Leafs fan catch the puck in the crowd in Boston, I would have price.
No, you're right. It's incredibly rare, and that's not something you would expect. Brad Marchand in the series last 3 penalty minutes, no goals, no assists. As this is now 56 playoff goals, most in Bruins history, and that is great company. 11:40 thereabouts left to go in this third. I'll be set to hand this off. Here's a rush, and this one goes near the right side pad. That one went harmlessly wide, but it did bounce in the air. There to clean it up with Mitch Marner. Marner off the outstretch. It's Bertuzzi. Try to find the entry now. Calmly put it in. There's opportunity. Coyle as this Bertuzzi still dancing with his former team. Back in behind for Matthews. Good to see him back out there. Turnaround chance. That was key there. Swayman made the save. Benoit. Matthews 1T. This one gets blocked out in front. It's a loose puck. Boston's got it. Taken down. Matthews steals. Cross. Score!
Finally, hallelujah, Toronto, hallelujah, Steve Dangle. Everyone in Toronto jumping on their feet with Willie Nealon. The game's first goal, and they're all waving their towels at Leafs land. Tremendous pressure out in front with and off the mat, he's getting one shot off. Brandon Carlo got pickpocketed towards the far corner, lost his balance. Matthews finds the approaching Nylander off the steal, and even if it was just loose for a while, and I see he is joining in a moment. Well, what can we expect here down for the line? I know Boston's angry for one part, knowing they do not want to become the first team to blow consecutive 3-1 series leads in consecutive postseasons.
Go ahead and take the play-by-play, Alec. It's yours.
Here we go. 10:44 to go. Here's Mitch Marner back inside. Stop on Joe Edmondson by Jeremy Swayman. The Leafs, after 49 minutes of play, at the game's first goal. It didn't take very long until this point in time. Teams that scored first in Game 7 of once. Pasternak swept off his feet on the takeaway. Jake McCain will back it up. Simon Benoit. And here's David Camp moving up. John Basno and Gregory. Easy save by Swayman. JVR, the former Leaf, will move it up now. Off Gregor's stick. The offside is waved out. Riley in trouble. Turn over Brasso. That went up away. JVR keeps alive. Past the halfway mark of the third period. Shot deflected onto Samson. Now turns it away. On the keeper. Held in by JVR. Holtz gets tied up. This time around it was Jake McCain.
And you just said 1-1. I didn't think it was going to be as much chaos as it is right now. After Austin Matthews sits up Nylander, hard-working shift for Boston that they have to have. And now the electricity Hampus Lindholm ties this game.
Oh, this is absolute cinema. And then some. We first get William Nylander when it looked like the Bruins were going to score as that shot was above the net. Hampus Lindholm just threads the needle, seeing an open screen available short side of the smallest of windows by Samsonov.
Wow, somehow between the post and his left shoulder. What a snipe that was.
That's a goal scorer's goal. Oh my Lord, Alec, John, what are we wishing?
We were hoping.
I can ask you now. Cinema.
Yeah, we were hoping for a game 7 that was going to be as good as. It took a while to break the seal, but it's been broken now. My goodness.
It's done so long, and now finally we have ourselves some goals for here. Racing after his homer, who is tied up and leveled by Charlie McAvoy with a big hit. Aaron takes the run. Edmondson picks up the loose puck away from the brush. Callie broke the ex-Predator and ex-Kraken as Austin Matthews to puck it in. McAvoy leave behind over to Mason Lowry, the former Buckeye. Jacob Russ sends this one around in the air, bores down his side. McCabe is the first to it. Saka also there. Uzi. Falling onto his Boston has the hold from Saka. Around his nose, Benoit racing to his puck first. Has to avoid Geeky and does. Max Domi also tied up with Saka. Geeky also there. Pasternak watching, and this puck goes loose. Trying to bounce on it. McCabe was there first. Still the puck is loose. Up for grabs. Leafs get it. Hunter has to lift this one out all the way and does so. Race for his puck. No icing. Not enough. Not even close. Went up for Pasternak. Pasternak almost got it over, but ran nicely by Tyler Bertuzzi. It took Hampus Lindholm 6 shots to find it back in the net. Ilya Labushkin just avoided David Pop on this puck shot away. Tavares tied up. Gets this one out right by Frederick. And down this goes to the Boston end, where Roberts.
Man, oh man. Now we're for it, and I'm starting to feel the stomach churn here, Alec. If we get to OT, I'm going to have you minutes. You said that going into it. You might think it was going to be in the third. I'm just glad to see that Austin Matthews was able to get that primary point for Nylander. Certainly feels like they'll be woken up. Now the question is, who else is going to step up here?
I don't know. I think Johnson for the game-winning goal if it ever comes to that situation for Toronto. Here's a quick face-off win by the Bruins. Take the brush, set to the left side. Lori. Marchand had it poked away from it, and it falls onto Nyes. The rookie out of the University of Minnesota. Sends it ball further from him, and the Bruins will move it up from the near side. Up for Marchand. Marchand, denied entry, has to force this one inside. Labushkin over to the far wall. This one floored to the left wing, was held by Brazo. Deep shot, loose out in front. Samsonov is down. Nice, gets it out. All the way down to Tavares, gets tangled up. Harm is up in the air. We may have a.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ian.
You know what? For the Bruins, game-winning goal, probably it's going to be Brad Marchand because the hockey gods want us to just. If it's the Leafs, I'm going to head and kick this over to Matthew Nyes. He's going to be the one to finally exercise the demons.
Alec had mentioned Brad Marchand as his pick, so you guys are in lockstep on that side.
By the way, that was not a penalty. It wasn't icing against Toronto. I thought it was going to be a penalty on the tie-up. We'll get another face-off to the left of Samsonov, but he was down for several seconds. Didn't know where it was. Got a little winded there at the visitor chaos. Almost Saka looking at Pasternak. That's not going to happen as Toronto wins and defends his own face-off. Up close, Bertuzzi picks up, will send it down the lane. And he'll lift this one out onto the safety netting. Shot story or even 27 goals, but both Jeremy Swayman and Ilya Samsonov have been fantastic.
Yes, they have. And again, we talk about it in the open here for Samsonov, not expected to play. Joseph Woll gets injured on that latest buzzer beater goal there in Game 6. Willie Nylander, Hampus Lindholm, your goal scorers as we're getting closer to OT with every second.
Every inch, every length of the way, it feels like overtime may be the writing on the wall. And I know Leafs fans may be licking their chops when it comes to overtime because last year in the first round, they won all three of those overtime playoff winners against Tampa Bay. They lost both of them against Florida, but earlier in the series, it was not nice. The Bruins may want to answer that overtime winner with one of their own, but they need to fire more.
They do. And now Ilya Samsonov and Jeremy Swayman, upon last check, both 20 27 as far as making saves. Your hit counter, high per usual, 46-43 in favor of the Bees. And face-off Leafs, I think they've had the edge in this series for the most part on that, 39-29. Total penalties, just a couple for the Leafs, just one for and block shots, 16-14 for Toronto.
It's been a defensive masterclass like the last two games. Toronto dominated Game 6, they dominated Game 5, but this one feels rather more even.
What do you think here, Ian? If you had to guess, are you going to lean Leafs or are you going to lean Bruins?
Leading Leafs this entire time.
Yeah.
I want pure, unadulterated misery.
I know you do.
But here's the thing. This game, if we're being real, what this game is, it's a check. It is the typical chess match between two masters of their craft. Not blinking, and right now, they're making a move and hitting the clock at near breakneck speed, just waiting for their opponent to leave an opening or make a mistake to land it in checkmate.
We'll see if they can do so right now. Alec, you take it away.
Yeah, so there was some zone time defense from Toronto, but an errant pass forced it all the way back from Samsonov and played out. The Leafs are all the way at their own zone with 6:45 remaining here in the third period. But one last TV time here before we go non-stop action, maybe even timeouts. We don't know. Here's John Tavares. Good shot. Swayman shuts it down, and McAvoy.
He did. They got a piece of him behind the net. You better watch that. You better make sure. Also, if you're Toronto, Boston, Alec, don't get involved in the extracurricular right now. It's not the time.
And do remember, the Bruins have 10 giveaways in this game. That's a glaring stat they do not want to have the advantage on.
And I will say, I agree in the sense of Toronto's been able to force some of those, but it seems like Boston's been.
Yeah, they have been. Just one giveaway. Even though the Bruins have 3 takeaways. Bruins gets one down deep. Here's Pasternak at the far side. One-on-one Riley. Pass way across. Waiting there was Geeky. Passed up with Matthew Nyes. Right behind and then looking for options. Geeky setting up at the far side. Over on the front. Puck is loose. Nice. Hooked it away. Nice defense there from the rookie out of the U of M. Rushed through there by Toronto trying to clear this one out. Loose puck. Recollected by Pasternak as he keeps it in. Pass down low. And puck goes back to Pasternak. And that's a nice block in the way by JP, Johnny Toronto. Glove down by Laurie on the clear. McAvoy re-enters with the puck. Back
trying to get one break. That's the first time I can say, Alec, that Boston tried to cheat for offense in Morgan Geeky, but it doesn't hit there. We've not been able to say that all game for the Bees.
Not at all. The offense hasn't relatively been there in the first periods of the last two games, but it has been clicking in the first period, but also with Memphis Lindholm just spreading the needle on the lone goal for Boston.
That we waited that long to get any goals, and then two and a finger snap. For those that have just joined in, just to give you a reset, Willie Nylander has started the playoffs from Austin Matthews and Tyler Bertuzzi at 9:01. And then just a little over a minute later, Hampus Lindholm, the defenseman, his first of the year from JVR, from relief, and Justin 22. Swayman stopped 27 and 28, and 27 and 28 for Samsonov as well.
Scoring nicely for both sides in a complete masterclass. We thought Boston had the upper hand in the closing stages of last year. You were there with me, Ian, last year. But Florida came back in the final minute.
I was, and it was glorious. And I'm hoping for a second year in a row. Come on, Toronto. Come on, Toronto. Exercise thy demons. That has plagued you for these many years, and come out on top and stand above and claim your spot in this game of glory.
I can say this as a diehard Red Wings fan. I know how it is. I'm leaning for the Leafs just because if I was a fan on that side, I would be tired of all.
Yeah, I'm leaning Leafs as well, to be honest, because I, for one, have experienced pain and suffering as a Pittsburgh sports facing the Patriots all those years between
Right.
Big Ben and Tom Brady, and I was sick of that. And that's why I'm rooting for the Leafs. I feel their pain. That's why I'm pulling for them. Face off the draw is Riley with 4-11. Back at the Toronto end is moved around, past Labushkin, on for Saka. Just back across around for the net. Pasternak at the near corner, tied up by the officials, and down goes Labushkin. So does Pasternak. Tavares trying to break away from Saka. Tied by Toronto all the way down. The Bruins are signaling for icing, and it goes past the goal line. Mr. Lorite knows it. Both teams know it. We'll have a face-off back at Samsonov's end.
Well, that referee tie-up there with Pasternak and company wasn't as bad because wasn't it the other day that we saw Brad Marchand trying to get to the bench and out of the way so he could go ahead and take a seat?
Not the first time that some Bruins were in the way of referees, as one of the referees clobbered Marchand right afterwards.
Yeah, pretty much tackled him down, yes.
Football style. Well, not exactly, but kind of reminiscent. Charles, nice was there on the takeaway. Can't do much with it. Toronto hold. It's Marner around the boards. Past Domi and on for Benoit. Nice shot. Does not go anywhere. Around to the far side. Leafs rushing into it. Just held in by Bertuzzi. Deflected down low onto the near boards. Marner runs by him off this tap from Lorite. Organizing a free-on-free. Second time in a matter of minutes. And with the referees got in the Bruins' way. Here's Max Domi. Back across the other way. Joe Edmondson. Sent up around for the boards. Lorite pickpocketed the pass. And sent this one just past mid. Remaining. We're still in search of the hero. Has his stick broken. That's an awkward sequence as he when the puck was getting to him, he had the stick broken instantaneously. You don't see that often, John.
Not off a pass, especially. Wow.
Yeah, that's a terrible break. Oh my gosh. Swayman plays behind. Tight coverage from Matthews. Van Riemsdyk just got out. Foot race. Labushkin taps it forwards on the backhand. Great look at Matthews. Flips it down. Off of Bruin Holmberg there. Around the near boards to the far side. Lindholm now takes it up. Go to far end. Pass it right down with a far angle. Right by Nylander. Labushkin there to shut him up. Right behind is Frederick. Matthews on his tail. Broken stick of Lundgren is there. Van Riemsdyk right behind the net. Riley on him. These two are familiar with each other. Next teammates at the shot. Fluttered high. Back and one on the key. Pasternak. One-timer. Oh, and down goes Frederick. Weber's on the key.
That one for Parker Wotherspoon, what did that hit? Did that hit the glass? Because it seemed like Samsonov was down and out in that top right corner of the net.
Yeah, that hit the glass at full speed ahead. David Pasternak as well.
Yeah, there were some near misses there with some vicious intent and miles per hour. David Pasternak lets this go. I mean, the entire left side of the net is wide open.
And he might have hit the outside the post.
Wow.
They say hockey's a game of inches.
So we're going to get an offensive zone draw here for the Bees. 1:52 left in this tie game.
Allberg trying to clear. McAvoy out and in. After the face-off win by Toronto, McAvoy, that shot was easily blocked. Leafs trying to get this one out. Lawrence is going to let this one roll to just at the center of the defensive zone. Pasternak denied entry. 1:30 to go. Samsonov slowing things down. Will feed to McCabe. McCabe to the left from the right side for Nyes. Our far side. Calle Yarncrook is inside, waiting for options at the near end. Has some friends in Tavares. Lindholm. Nyes there, trying to find Tavares. Puck loose in front. Make the cross, trying to clear. Morgan Geeky helping him. Benoit will pick this up. 1:05 in regulation. If nobody scores here, we're going to overtime. Final minute of this third period. That's Domi. Total and drag. Doesn't do well in 3 seconds. At the near boards, Charlie Coyle down the lane. Labushkin rushing there. Tension piling up here in Game 7. Over to the far side towards the Leafs bench. Max Domi can't dump this one in. 40 seconds. Leafs trying to recollect. Marchand tying up Domi. Bertuzzi trying to help him out. Back with this one, Birdie. Van on the first pass. Gets it up on the second one. Sent inside by Boston. Samsonov playing this one out. Labushkin tapping this one around. To the far side is McCabe. 21 seconds left. 25% of Game 7s have went to over. Add on to last year's Game 7 between the Bruins and Panthers. 10 seconds to its official. Held in by Holmberg. Holmberg to the left side. 5 seconds. Right on road to shoot. William Nylander. Are we going to hear a late? That's across. Swayman with the loose puck. He forces overtime in Boston on a chaotic last-minute sequence of events here in the third.
Absolutely, and we get some tie up there as a pass out of by Swayman.
And here we go.
Yeah, I was saying, guess what, ladies and gentlemen, for a third straight game, 2-1 is going to be your final score.
And here we go, as Ian said. The first straight time that we will see a 2-1 final score in this game. Maybe third time would be the finisher for Toronto. In all honesty, it should have been a 2-0 final score in Game 6 had it not been for the late buzzer beater by Boston. But we're at this now.
The puck just deflected off Wotherspoon there and was sent backwards to Swayman, and he had to hold on to it.
Just right in front. When you think Timberwolves and Nuggets was crazy this game yet?
No, this game's going to be absolutely crazy. I'm just going to step aside for 1 minute and get all settled for the OT, but I will be right back.
Right. So to give the scoring recaps here, we only have 2 goals in this Game 7. Both of them coming from both teams. 21 seconds. 81. Like Interstate 81. We have Nylander, his third of the series from Austin Matthews and Tyler Bertuzzi after Brandon Carlo got pickpocketed at the far corner. With Matthews finding the open Nylander at the left circle, and he bent this one in on the one-timer. That gets the scoring going. And Hampus Lindholm threaded the needle on a tight shot, short side. After so many chaotic sequences, Justin Brasso, James Van Riemsdyk, and Joe Darrow in this reverse order. They have the assist on this. JVR is second, Brasso is first. Lindholm is first goal this series. He did not have a single point in all of last year's series against the Panthers. But now he's on the board with a crucial goal. That was the goal that got us to this point here in overtime. Ilya Samsonov, 27 of 28. On the shots that he faced, Jeremy Swayman, 28 of 29. If there's any goaltender that Boston can trust, it is definitely Samsonov is picking up where Joseph Wall has left off in the last two games. Need a mental reset, and the benching might have did it justice, as this benching has been his saving grace. As we get Owen down here for this overtime as we head into the intermission, or the overtime intermission. Well, everything has happened.
Indeed, it has. Oh my God.
Back and forth action, basically a defensive masterclass between both the Leafs and the Bruins. But what are your takeaways so far in this game, Owen?
Not talking. I mean, when we scored there, Neil had the goal. I honestly thought we might hold it, but then oh man.
Well, I know your heart rate's up. Our heart rates are up as well. We both were personally rooting for the Leafs because my Penguins or my Steelers, they had to endure suffering in the hands of Boston or New England-based teams.
Yeah, it'd be nice to finally be Boston in the playoffs. We seem to have an aversion to doing that, especially in Game 7. Of course, we all remember the one lead and then lost in overtime.
Oh, crazy to think how a crazy comeback attempt gets overshadowed by a crazy comeback.
Yeah, 3-1 down. Be the second year in a row Boston's won a 3-1 lead. I would love to see that happen.
So now further down as we're looking at I'm trying to pull up some headlines around the NHL. So take away from these playoff series, such as the Canucks Predators for you, Owen. I felt that the Canucks, they played more of the Predators game in that series, and that was more of a cause of concern in the second round when they faced the Oilers.
Yeah, and I think again they've got their injury woes that seemingly keep plaguing them, but I'd say the Oilers are heavily favored. I think it's still a good series. I think it goes 5 or 6 games.
The Oilers winning, perhaps?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's how I was leaning that way as well. So, in terms of announcer information for Canadian broadcasters, the Canadian broadcast at CBC, that Boston wins the Vancouver-Edmonton series called by Chris Covert and Craig Simpson. If Toronto wins, the Vancouver Parker Einstein and Louis DeBrusque.
Oh, so if Toronto wins, Vancouver's going to get the same guys they got in the first round.
Well, that's more Edmonton because Vancouver, they got their announcers, John Shorthouse and Dave Tomlinson.
For Edmonton, sorry, yeah. I like Cuthbert, honestly. There's not a Canadian team I don't like in terms of commentary, but Cuthbert's definitely the best.
A true professional in the business. You can't go wrong between him and Gordon Miller when you have two announcers who are the best of the business.
Exactly.
And Rangers fans can say the same thing with Sam Rosen and Kenny Albert.
Yeah, they seem to have a lot of fun during their broadcasts.
Yeah, Rosen with Joe Micheletti, that's a dynamic duo.
Yes, a lot of people like that, and I would agree. Again, we'll see what happens in between this game. I'm back from the 1-1 side. Again, if Alec needs to step away, we can have him bounce as well.
We got overtime coming up, but 5-on-5 action. Samsonov and Swayman, except for one instance, have been basically walling everything.
They have. So when we look at overtime goals, John Tavares and Brad Marchand each have 3. I scored the overtime winner in Game 5 of this series. And looking back onto PK Subban winner in Boston in that second round series in the second frame. wait to feel the energy of the Boston crowd and can't wait out. And exactly, the Canadians did exactly that. On their way to the Eastern Conference Final, Carey Price got taken out of the equation. The East Final, Rangers won in 6.
Man, Carey Price, you can't help but think of that when you think about the Montreal best goaltenders in the history of the NHL to me.
And bar none, many can debate between him and Henrik Lundqvist,
Sure.
who the greatest goaltender of his time. I personally lean towards Lundqvist, but I'm not ruling out Price.
No, because I think in a certain situation, and for Lundqvist as
You
well.
also can't.
Go ahead.
Let's see, Lundqvist and Price are definitely the top. So I would also like to throw Roberto Luongo's hat into that race.
Good one too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Luongo must be watching closely to both the Panthers and the Canucks. He was inducted to the Canucks Ring of Honor, and the Panthers and Canucks. I covered that game where the Canucks went for Bobby Lou.
I know we got to do that.
Well, we've gone over ours. For Boston, Alec and I both agree that it would be Brad Marchand because the hockey costume.
Yes.
But we both had different picks for Toronto. My pick was Matthew Nice.
Anything too special. I think it's going to be, if not Marchand, I think it's going to be Pasternak on Boston's side. I'm thinking Matthews brings Toronto on through. Nothing too crazy.
For me, I'm going to go with, that's sticking with my guts here. I'm going to go with the hometown Wolves. Charlie Coyle for the Bruins. I picked him last year to end the series for the Bruins. And against the Panthers, I'm sticking to that. I am picking their hometown boy and captain, John Tavares.
I know on mine I'm going off the board. I'm still not changing. I'm going on both sides. Trent Frederick, who's already scored for the Bees, and I'm going to go David Camp for the Leafs.
Anyone can be a hero then again.
Yes.
So I don't blame you for those picks at all.
No, because, I mean, this has been a series and a game so far. We're going to have 3 straight 2-1 results. We're waiting for anybody to emerge. And if it wasn't for that last about minute and 15, again, we could be scoreless here going into OT. But as it is, 1-1, we got
They're going on. We have the AHL and ECHL. But I'll be honest, I'm happy to say that the Kansas City Mavericks so far have won 5 playoff games so far.
That league is in what?
That is in the ECHL.
The first year. So still 5 playoff game wins. That is outstanding.
Yep.
Yeah, if there's some junior hockey going on after. I don't think there's any tonight here. But if there's still something, I'll watch that. And if not, I'll flip between the UFC and the boxing. There's 2 good cards on tonight there. So
I know in a couple more weeks we're going to have championships going on while we have the Stanley Cup playoffs.
And not to mention Summer Olympics that are coming around the horizon.
Yeah, so it's going to get pretty busy.
And the ESPN, they were showing Tavares at their camera heading into this overtime. He's a man that's known for breaking droughts here. He ended the Islanders' 23-year playoff series with drought. Game 6 in overtime against the Florida Panthers. He has a 19-year playoff series with drought just last year. Game 6 against the Lightning in the first round. Maybe if there's anyone and the Toronto Maple Leafs 65-year playoff series win drought against the Bruins, I think it's him.
Yeah, you've been on the front foot for that for the Cole, and I think you're probably right because we've seen him score critical ones at that. Just to update in the vote here on the YouTube side, I said Walt out, Sam Snub in. Do the Leafs advance tonight? Out of 25 votes now, 70% of you say yes. So that's still where we're leaning right now. I think we're all leaning that way in the room. We'll see what happens. OT. Alec will take the first 10 minutes as we've evenly split it. I'll take the last 10. And if we get to second, I might start and have him finish it as we'll continue to save our voices as much as we can because we might be in for a long one today.
It already is a long one. Rarely do we see Game 7. That was the case, resulted in the third longest Game 7 in NHL history, where the Carolina Hurricanes knocked off the defending Stanley Cup champion 4-3 at the Capital One Arena.
Yeah, I mean, we've already, as you said, this one has already been long. The first period took an hour tonight.
Just feels like forever, but none have come close to no overtime playoff Game 7 has ever come close to the East. Knocked off the Capitals in the fourth overtime, the longest.
4 overtime. If we get a 4 overtime Game 7, Alec, we might need to bring in Cooper Hopkins.
I don't think we're gonna see two hockey tonight.
Oh goodness, God save our voices if that is.
7 tomorrow. I'm planning on doing the Stars and the Golden Knights, so hopefully we'll see how far that one goes.
Overtime, do you think this will go? I mean, we had a 3 full overtime epic and a little bit of fourth overtime. I think just a year ago.
With Carolina and Florida.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I think for
I don't think we're in for a big one tonight. I think it's been not enough scoring tonight. I think the offenses are rearing to go here. I think this gets down to the first 5-10 minutes. Honestly, I don't think we're here very long.
Yeah, I think this is going to be done quickly. There's going to be someone that's going to be the hero. I think that there's going to be a quick overtime goal. I don't see this going late into the first overtime unless these goaltenders turn red hot. But such has been Samsonov and Swayman for the majority of this game. The first goal was not conceded until the 49-minute mark.
yeah, you can't blame either one of these teams goes home as they will. They better not talk about the goaltending because Samsonov, I know he struggled. He stepped up big time right now.
He has. Not to mention that he's been 3-0 in playoff overtime games last season with Toronto after he dropped several heartbreakers with the Washington Capitals. We're going to be underway here. Leafs in the white with the blue sweatpants going from left to right like they do at Scotiabank Arena. Bruins and their 100th anniversary black jerseys going from right to left. They have the black sweatpants as well. Overtime underway. Leafs control the opening possession. Bruins have been in this exact situation last year. They lost that. Here's the order inside the pass to Florida hometown boy Tavares of Mississauga. Their last Game 7 road win came in 1993 in the division semifinals against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Bob Cole described it as a very interesting turn of events. And it may be an interesting turn of events here no matter who scores. Bad eyes, tied up by McAvoy, goes inside. He lost the stick and right by the post after Swayman played this one out. And the Bruins will take the possession here early. Marchand goes inside. Poke loose by McCabe. Gets it back. Oh, my! Vincent's hit right behind Samsonov toward the wall. Hard impact by Marchand as the cross plays it over to the far side by stepping up. Here's Little walking to point. That one loose to the front. Here's Van Riemsdyk looking to end it. Samsonov not bothered. A minute, 5 seconds.
A very physical Maple Leafs team, more so than we've seen over the last couple of years. And Matthew Nyes, I might have to affectionately call him a bowling ball, Alec.
Oh, that was hard and that was vicious, but we can say the same thing. Forget bowling ball for Marchand. That was helicopter.
Absolutely, he got all turned around.
All the physicality turned around the Bruins. They've lost 4 straight overtime games with chance to clinch the series. They could end that right now as Matthews gets swift in turn. At the center ice is Callie Yarncroke to the left side. Shot on goal directly for Swayman, who will load on at the right circle to his side. 18:42 left.
So again, a couple of long shots, a little more physicality. Toronto 31-29 on the shot board. We might not need all this first overtime, but 18:42 left. Both goaltenders brilliant. And what else would we expect, Alec, as you said in the first period? Game 7 between Toronto and Boston and in overtime.
And it's delivered over the Bruins. Johnny Beecher's back. Carlos out there, Hampus Lindholm's out there. Austin Matthews, Tyler Bertuzzi, and William Nylander was sneaky win to draw. And though the plan for Toronto was a quick face-off win, they scored a tied up with Lundgren. Boston on the takeaway, they secure it. And Beecher down deep. Rebound loose. Oh, that could have ended the game. Sandstone all the way to Boston's size as Lindholm will just casually skate on the way to the puck. The icing called off. Across for Carlo. Up from drop back for Lindholm. Lindholm skating up casually. That might have been sent in, but there's loose puck out in front. They scored! The Bruins have finished their demons. It is a pasta party in Boston.
What a sick goal. I know he got a break off the boards, but magic hands. David Pastrnak, Jim Montgomery was calling for it, and he finally got it from a star forward. They'll play Florida on Monday.
Oh boy, it happened again.
7 straight game 7s. I don't even know what to say, Alec. I don't.
I don't.
Where was our defense?
That clearing off the boards, to be fair, I don't know how you're playing that. And Pastrnak against Samsonov, if anyone throws, they're completely in the wrong because he stood on his head to keep them in the game. Again, you can't have too many of these 2-1 results. That's what they got. We're going to see Pastrnak now. We'll take you through this replay as this is just cleared in Lindholm, and he just beats everybody to the puck.
Sent it from behind the
Yeah.
icing. Waved out. Good job by Pastrnak to wave off the icing, and he completely makes swing. Pull out in
You
front.
can't do anything with that.
Pastrnak locating this. He picks it up, just goes on a toe drag, forehand, backhand, and buries it.
It looked like Morgan Riley to me, Alec, was the only one that had any sort of intention to know for the bounce off the boards. He caught everybody else.
Oh my word. Pasta, if there was anyone that could possibly get this going for the Bruins,
He needed that.
he needed that.
He did. He needed that. And I don't know, like I said, as we talked about, Alec, as we get to the handshake line here, I think hamburger meat for Florida as far as Boston, Toronto. But as it is, I think we can have our discussion now, and I'll keep mine short because I want to get everyone else's thoughts. We were delaying the inevitable here for the Toronto Maple Leafs, whether it was Sheldon Keefe, whether it was Brendan, or as soon as we get the calendar turned all the way and we go back to Monday in the second round, they're going to have these conversations open again. There's got to be some changes.
Our offense isn't the problem. Our core four is not the issue. The issue is everything else. Keith, I'd say, is absolutely on the chopping block. He just hasn't produced results.
No.
I'd say the entirety of the front office should be on the chopping block, but
I agree.
we have to be realistic. That's not going to happen after we just ran to the first round of playoffs again. So,
No, no. Honestly, Owen, it has to be. Brendan Shanahan's got to go. Either Brendan Shanahan's firing himself or they're moving out from Sheldon Keefe. I know people don't want to hear it, but we've watched this the last 3 years. We know what the Maple Leafs are. They're a fantastic regular season team, and they have some top-end talent. But you can't have games ago to Alec Nava, and we kind of agreed on this, but we can kind of go back and forth. You can't have a situation where Sheldon Keefe goes out and says that intensity is not the issue and effort's not the issue, when Morgan Riley says effort is. I mean, clearly the message is not being sent across accurately.
And how ironic if it is, Morgan Riley was caught on the wrong end of this.
Right. I mean, yeah, he was, but I mean, he was also the only guy off the dumping. So it's you can pick and choose whatever you want there, but I'm going to tell you, it's either Brendan Shanahan or Sheldon Keefe. They're going to have a hard time with the core four, but one of them is gone. And if it's not, then you're going to see the same thing we've been seeing the last 3-4 years.
I think Shanahan was an interesting pick to be. I mean, he came, of course, from he worked in the NHL front office.
Right.
Before he came to Toronto, former as well. I think it was an interesting hire when it happened. I think he had the potential to bring a lot of value to the team, and he just hasn't.
No, I mean, all those high-end guys, that's wanted to blame him and move him on from Pittsburgh's side, but I thought he did the best that he could, trying to get everything else squared away. And now, and I'm not saying this because it's only 1 year, but what happened with Brad Treliving in Calgary? You know, you got the Huberdeau Kadri situation and all that, left them with some garbage bag. Want to have that same situation continue in Toronto along the core four.
No, you don't. You don't want the same situation where it's just a mess all around.
Right. You've got it. Go ahead, Amy.
I feel like, okay, yeah, Sheldon Keefe, Brendan Shanahan, or both, they need to go. I honestly don't. But if you're going to nuke the entire front office, this is going. Maple Leaf fans are going to hate me for this, but maybe everything should start from scratch.
I don't think you're wrong, Ian.
No, I don't think we need to go thing. I don't think it's our core offensive players. Matthews, Marner. I mean, Matthews we're probably losing anyway in a few years with his contract for renegotiation. We got to try and get what we can out of him. No use throwing him away.
Well, maybe not because you just signed him to an extension.
Right.
But I mean, the guys that are nearing the end of their contracts, like, to trade them, get pigs, get prospects, reload the farm, do what you gotta do. But the fact of the matter is, you can't, like, the core four, sure, it's the high-end talent and the goal scoring is great and all. How many goals? Okay, outside of Nylander, which of the core four was actually the most effective outside of Nylander, who had 3 goals in the series? Maybe.
I think Tavares. I mean, if anybody. At this point, he's here for the experience and to kind of be a guiding force for the rest of the team. But he's taken up a spot. If we do get rid of anybody, it's got to be him.
Or Mark.
I don't disagree with you, Owen. The only discussions, because I've had from the salary cap situation with Alec, thinking that Tavares is almost immovable. The Marner thing is what's curious to me, because Willie Nylander's locked up, and Ian was kind of singing my praises because I think the same thing. I think Willie Nylander's a stud, and I'm not moving on from Austin Matthews. I like Austin Matthews. I like his 200-foot game. He was hurt. You deal with some things. It sucks. I get it. But Marner's the guy, and I don't want to be disrespectful to you, but when I watch him sometimes, this is just me, honestly, down a type where he's more offense more than anything else. He is a very skilled player. Offensively, Marner's brilliant, but I don't think he provides the defensive effort that they need as much.
It's just a lot of pain around. Yeah, English land.
It's tough to have conversations because it's only because we've had the same conversations for the last 3 years. That's what makes it tough. So I'm leaning with Ian as those moves. I think you have to. I'm starting with the front office. You got to make some moves, and you got to get maybe one of the core four. But I agree with you, Owen, on that side. You don't blow the whole thing up, but you do got to make some moves, and they better do it quickly.
Now, I do think, here's the thing about Marner. When into that contract, I was shocked because you gave him, actually, our YouTuber said it best, you gave Marner Matthews money.
Yes.
But I wasn't seeing, but Marner isn't Matthews by a good margin. So why would you give him that much? I mean, I get he seemed important at the time, but now it's kind of looking like an overpay.
I agree with you, Ian. That's where I'm leaning on that side. That's the one. I know we're going to have a lot of conversations, and I don't want to keep it too much longer. I just wanted to throw that out there. We'll see what happens now going forward, because Alec and I mentioned it as much, and I want to get your thought, Ian, before I close out here. Do you have any hope that the Boston Bruins are going to match up against Florida? Because Alec and I are pretty cold. Do we think it's done?
Oh no, I think this series against Toronto proved that they are. Boston is about to get exposed.
I think so too.
You know what? Dare I say it? Not dare. I'm going to say it. Boston's getting swept.
Swept is a big one, Ian, and I won't disagree with you.
I'm going to write that on the wall right now.
You should write it on the wall for hot takes, because I said maybe 5 or 6. Swept is big, and Ian, I will give you congratulations if you get swept, because honestly, you might not be wrong.
Yeah, I think Florida at 5. It's not the series still, but I think Florida at 5.
Also, on the Vancouver-Edmonton series, I don't. Here's the thing. If there was any. Look, Vancouver has holes right now, especially because, you look at their goaltending situation, they're down to their third-string goalie. It's also a third-string goalie who now has had his feet put to the fire in the playoffs. I think this series between Vancouver and Edmonton is a lot closer than you think. Because one thing is clear. Have a decent offense, have an amazing offensive attack. The Vancouver Canucks are not the Los Angeles Kings.
Yeah.
They can play defense. They have a better offense. I think this is going to be two heavyweights. This is going to be more of a boxing match. Just two guys throwing jabs and waiting for the opportunity to hit the hook or the uppercut.
I would like to see that, Ian, because honestly, I was kind of leaning in the way of a shorter series. And again, I'll give you full marks if that ends up happening. I thought a chance to get to the WCF, but we'll see. I want to watch more of Vancouver and lock in because I haven't did as much. I'm going to go ahead and jump out of the stream now, though, because I got to get settled up for the story and get set for Game 7 tomorrow as well. So if you guys join in, or if not, I'll be back between Tuesday and Wednesday for the second round.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
See you tomorrow.
See you.
I should be there.
Peace out, YouTube. We'll talk to you tomorrow. David Pasternak gets the GWG. We also had a Leafs discussion. Hope you guys. There was a lot to do. See you tomorrow about 7:45 Eastern. Peace.